Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 8 of Blood on the Tamesis, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set in Oxfordshire, England, 2012. With me tonight we have...
Philip playing Salah Shaw of Clan Bruya.
Bex playing Velvet Clan Ventry.
And Carlos playing Theodore Penn of Clan La Sombra.
So, for obvious reasons, for anyone who watched the previous episode, there are only 3 players with me tonight. And we have 3 episodes left of the Chronicle, which means I'm on track, which is great. So we left everybody on Saturday, the 4th of August. And just before we get into our first scenes, I just want to do a quick check-in with the players regarding their current state of health or unhealth, willpower, and hunger. And if you have, it might also be worth just giving us a very quick reminder of any ambitions or desires that you want to share with us. Let's start with Silas.
So Silas is currently on 2 aggravated willpower damage, considerably better than he has been at the start of this. He's on 3 aggravated health. He's on 2 hunger. Hey, he's healing. Yep, he's pretty much back.
You're better. You're better though.
Yeah, his current ambition is to bring stability to Oxfordshire, and his current desire is to see Mr. Whispers.
Aww.
Awesome.
New lover boy. What do you expect?
Aww. Well, that's sweet. All right, thank you, Silas. What about you, Velvet?
So, Velvet's fine. I mean, maximum health, maximum willpower. Not hungry at all. No downside to any of that. Obviously, his ambition is still to kill Wallace, who's not dead, right? And his desire remains as it always is, which is have sex with Adam a lot. But that, people keep interrupting that a lot. So fingers crossed. That'll be fun.
It's a tough world, isn't it?
It is tough,
world
when you just don't get the things you want all the time, right? That's it.
Yeah. And what about Theodore?
Theodore is healthy, sound, and like mind and body. No damage to his willpower or health tracks. He's currently at hunger 2. His ambition is still around bringing to help create an independent Oxfordshire, independent from Helena and others. So it's basically to rule ourselves. I fulfilled my desire last session to see Miyuki, and now my desire is to find Melliore.
Excellent. So, we were kind of at the tail end of Saturday, the 4th of August. And when we left our coterie, I believe Silas was in the garage. Velvet had delivered a nameless woman who, for her sins, had been fed on.
She was fine.
Nearly died. But now she's fine, and it's all fine. And no one cares.
She was fine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
She's been returned to human society, and Velvet is now rushing back to beat the sun to the Haven. Now, Theodore had actually set off sometime earlier in the evening in a car with Isabel. He is armed, and one might say looking for trouble. He is being followed by another car full of, as far as Theodore is aware, kine, who are also armed and looking for trouble. You will know by now that Isabel is nearly always armed, though not often looking for trouble. But she is with you in the car as well. Now, you are traveling quite a while, and you have been trying to get a sense from the shadows themselves of where Melliore is. And this is a very difficult thing to do. It's not like having a sat-nav or a compass. It is reaching out into the dark, trying to find her within that darkness. And perhaps it's Theodore's imagination, but you also almost imagine that she too is reaching out. And that through that connection, you sometimes get kind of a fleeting sense of direction. But it's a difficult process. You have, you think, been following or getting closer to her, but you don't have a sense of how far away you are, and you don't have a sense yet of whether she is stationary or moving or anything like that. You're just sometimes aware of the shadows kind of pulling in a certain direction, and you just go with them. However, given that this is actually going to have quite a long time, potentially before it resolves, I would like you to make one more roll for me, which is going to be a Resolve and Oblivion roll. You can spend willpower, you can rouse should you wish to.
I will rouse.
Awesome.
Resolve plus
obviously
Oblivion.
include your blood potency bonus to this roll.
Okay. So I will both rouse and most certainly will end up spending willpower. Just so you know.
So one of the things whilst you're resolving that roll that is odd as well is that when you did this the first time, you were sat in your room in the dark, kind of reaching into the shadows, specifically reaching into your shadow as it fell upon the wall. Whereas now you're in a moving vehicle. And whilst you're essentially doing the same thing, it's just there are more distractions. Even though it is a very nice car and the drive is very smooth, it's more difficult than perhaps it might be.
So it's a good thing that Theodore is a highly resolute man, because I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 successes critical win. So I don't think I'm going to use that willpower.
Okay.
It's an 8 successes crit win.
Instantly, someone hears the plot going.
I do go hungry. I do go hungry. So
okay.
There's someone breathing
that's
life.
Good. I feel good about
breathing life into the plot again.
So obviously it is more difficult. But Theodore is not a man who lets a little bit of difficulty stand in his way, nor is he a man who gives up or allows himself to be distracted easily. And his long background of being able to kind of keep focus of mind comes into play here, as does indeed the years that he has spent being tutored by Melliore. If you have almost a stronger connection in terms of oblivion to her than you do to Isabel, although again, you do have a strong connection to Isabel, she's your sire. And it is through this connection and through Theodore's focus that he again feels that pull of the shadows and is able to direct the cars in the right direction. Moreover, as he's been focusing on this, I gave a kind of analogy before, almost like you're putting your hand against the glass and you could almost feel her hand sometimes, like as if maybe she was on the other side. And this, you get a kind of renewed burst of that you are pressing into this darkness, trying to find her. And at some point, it is almost like suddenly she's reaching out to you. And for a moment, there is some kind of contact, not a physical one, but one where you suddenly have a sense of her much more strongly, and your confidence that this really is her grows dramatically. And also that you briefly have maybe more of a sense that you are closer to her than you were, although you still don't know how close or how far away she is. You drive for some time until indeed you'll find yourself driving out of Oxfordshire. You will be heading south, and you have this horrible sensation for a while of, am I going back into Reading and Reading's domain? However, you are not going directly towards Reading. You're heading in that general direction, but not exactly to it. You're not taking the same roads entirely. And after a while, you will become aware that you are bypassing Reading. So you are still kind of heading vaguely, you head vaguely towards it, and then you go past it.
Okay.
And hours will pass. You will begin to get a little concerned about getting back. Like, it's not impossible, but it's getting increasingly risky to have to just rush back as the night kind of drags on. However, given your crit win and your rather disgusting number of successes, and of course it's worth saying that you are getting an assist of a kind, you will eventually find yourself in Twyford. Twyford is a place which is kind of a bit to the east of Reading and kind of northwest of London, give you a kind of vague sense of where it might be.
Yes.
And you feel yourself getting closer. And whilst you're not sure, like, precisely where Melliore is, you feel like she is close. What is in your favour, however, is that you're still on a road, still on a fairly main road when you start to get this sensation. And as you look along, it's like an A road that you're on. As you're looking kind of around, as luck would have it, you are not in a heavily built up area. You're not in a town, in the centre of town, I should say, and you're not in like a little village or anything along the way. You are on the main road.
I start looking for the
thing
black vans.
So you look around for black vans and you don't see them. But what you do see is what looks like a shut down car dealership.
Which, okay.
So there are a few cars outside it, but no vans that you can see, and certainly no black vans.
Yeah, but if it's a used car dealership that has been shut down, what are those cars doing there?
Indeed.
So
there is a largely
suspicious.
empty car park. There is, you can see what would have originally been like a kind of glass fronted building, but the glass has all been painted over and whitewashed, so it's been smeared. The cars will be kind of slowing down, and Isabel will say, "Do you wish us to stop here, Theodore?"
I believe there's something to investigate around that car place.
I see. So the cars will come to a stop. And her people will get out of the car behind you. Your driver will stay in the car, in this car that you're in. But she will get out. I assume you are doing the same?
Yeah, I will get out. I will put the silencers on the gun
Mm-hmm.
and carry it with me. On my holster, if it allows for that. If not, I'll have it in my hand, and my katana in the other. And what I will do is, I will use shadow cloak. Sorry,
Shadow cloak. Okay. So it is nighttime. There are many shadows around, and it is trivial for you to call them about you. You are aware that they are making it harder for you to be seen.
Okay. Should I make like a stealth roll or something?
We'll come to that in a moment.
Mm.
So Isabel, for the moment, seems to just be kind of standing and waiting. You will see her kind of almost like square her shoulders slightly, like she's gearing herself up for whatever this is, but you don't see any kind of obvious external change. She will reach into her handbag and pull out a fairly high caliber pistol.
That's my girl.
Which,
a revolver, I think you mentioned.
Yeah.
Like a 38.
But she will tuck it kind of. She's wearing a shawl, as if you protect yourself against some of the cold of the night, and she kind of tucks it very casually under there, and looks very much just like a very elegant woman looking at a very run-down building. You'd have to be quite close to notice there was anything untoward about that. The men who've got out of the car at the back are all armed, although they're not brandishing their weapons. They are all taking positions. They're kind of fanning out a little bit, so they've got kind of a broad view of the sides of the building.
Start checking for like security cameras and.
Sure. So I would
People that
like
might
you to make a your choice of resolve and either technology or alertness. Or awareness, sorry.
Or awareness.
Or awareness, yeah. Yeah, because you could, if you have high technology, you might have a good idea of where these things might be and other things like that.
It's going to be a failed awareness roll, I think.
Okay.
A single success.
All right. So you're looking for cameras and you are struggling to see them, or at least anything that looks active in the building. but Isabel will point one out to you that is quite well concealed. The thing that will strike you also is that you had seen a camera, but it was a defunct camera. It was in the place kind of above the doors where you might expect it, whereas this one is more tucked away.
I signal the people in my group,
Mhm.
and I start giving hand signals, pointing at the camera that Isabel, and for them to look for others.
Yep, they will fan out and do that. And it doesn't
I might
take
be coming sorry, I might be coming a little bit from your microphone. So if you take your audio a little down, because I think I'm hearing a little bit of echo.
Me? Okay.
There it is.
So yeah, you very quickly get to a point where you've identified the cameras on the building. There are two, in fact. One that is covering two sides of the building nearer the front, and the other is covering two sides of the building nearer the back. And they are quite keen to disable these cameras.
Yes.
And Isabel will
I tell
give
them
them
to
the nod.
proceed. And whomever is not doing that, to circle around, the others join me. I start like trying to tactically take advantage of entry and exit points, places where we can be ambushed from, things like that.
Sure. So in terms of the area around this place, it's actually quite open. It'd be quite hard to ambush you from here. You know, all of the approaches have got high visibility. In terms of the building itself, you can see an exit at the back, and you can see what is like a double-doored, quite a kind of big entrance at the front. As I say, there's a very large car park, but that's all open. You've got that kind of extended roof such that you could park cars and they'd be semi-protected from the elements. It is possible, your tactical mind will tell you, that someone could be on the roof itself. And of course, given the nature of the roof, they'd be able to get quite a good vantage point on people. Although you could obviously go underneath the roof, even before going in the building if you wanted to. Nobody has spotted, including you, anyone at the moment.
After the cameras are disabled, I just signal the go-ahead so we can approach.
Okay. Is Theodore taking the lead, or are you letting her people take the lead?
I'm taking the lead.
Sure. In that case, Theodore, are you going to the front or the back or somewhere else? Clever.
I think the best way, right now, the best approach is from the front to see if anything can be seen, any movement can be heard, things like that.
Okay.
I will do it under the cover of darkness, of course.
So you approach. You suspect if someone is trying to watch through the glass, it'll be difficult because, as I say, the glass has been smeared over. There may be small pockets, of course, that could have viewpoints. You move up with the dark cloaking you, and nothing happens. No one immediately responds. And you get to these doors.
I check the door.
The door is stiff but not locked.
After checking the handle, I just check my ammunition and signal to the people. I stand back from the door, taking aim, and normal entry procedure, like someone opens the door, other people cover, I'm going to be covered.
So a couple of her people will come to cover you at the front, and a couple will go around the back in case, obviously, anything comes out there. Isabel's going to stay with you at the front. She's standing a little back while this is going on. The door is... It can't be just swung open easily. It has to be forced open. So it's not quite as dramatic or as quick as you'd like. Nevertheless, it does get opened. They will be shining torches into the space once it's open. And what you will see quite rapidly is there's a little bit of space where the kind of, you think probably like an internal showroom was. But actually, there is some kind of partition wall of boards that has been put up across the width of this very large open space that kind of seals it off. And you can now see there is a secondary door inside that partition wall.
I started making hand signals and doing a steady approach. Does it look like a cramped place, or does it look like an open space?
Well, originally you suspect it was a large open area where you could fit cars and like a desk and all kinds of other things. But now it's been like cut off into this very thin kind of rectangle of space where you've stepped in. So it's very like it stretches to your left and right a long way, but the space ahead of you is very small before you hit this wall.
Okay.
How much of the space on the other side there is and how divided that is, you don't know.
Then we'll start heading to that door that you mentioned.
So you go to the door.
The partition.
The partition door. It will be locked, you will discover.
I gestured to one of the guys to go around to see how far it stands, one of the guys with the torches.
So they'll follow the partition wall when it goes to the actual walls of the building.
Okay. Again, but I
very
think
quiet,
we're gonna...
By the way, you don't hear anything on the other side. You don't hear any movement. It is remarkably quiet.
Is it a normal door with a lock and a key, or is it locked because it's locked from the inside or barred, or does it sound like it has like a chain or like a lock?
You think it is a normal lock and key.
I point at the lock and key and wave at it to see if any of them picks locks or he wants to break it, or I don't know.
Yeah, one of them will step forward, and a minute or so goes by, there is a click, and you have access to the room.
Okay, I cover and
the moment the door opens, the moment it opens, you smell blood. A lot of blood.
Okay. I take point with one of the guys with the torch.
Okay. So, as you move into this space, you can see that it looks like it has been divided into several kind of holding areas. Each of these are visible from where you're standing. But they've been partitioned off such that, almost like a line of cells, effectively. There are 4 that you can see. 3 of them are empty. I should say one of these is less of a cell and looks more like a kind of office of sorts or a store place. 2 of them are just empty, save for a single chair and what look like chains that are attached to the floor and just rested over the chairs. You'll be able to see, as the flashlight is kind of passing them and taking in the details, that the chairs look as if they are also bolted to the floor. You will note the chairs look as if they are metal and quite sturdy, and the chains look thick and have heavy kind of padlocks on them. However, it is the 4th cell that mainly gets your attention. What you will see is there is blood all over the walls and over the floor. It looks like an abattoir in quite stark contrast to the others. You can look pretty much straight into it because although there is a door, it is currently open to this space. You will see there are several bodies inside. They look to you like, from their positions, the way they're lying, as if something incredibly strong had picked them up and slammed them around maybe the walls, the ceiling, you don't know. But they look like they have multiple bone breaks and their limbs hang at kind of odd angles, and they look a little bit boneless in the way they are. And they are scattered in different places in the room. You count 3 bodies, dead bodies. You are certain they are dead, without question. There is a 4th and 5th person in this room. The 4th person you don't think is dead. They are sitting on the floor. leaning against the chair in a kind of slump. I should say that these bodies that you can see are all wearing kind of practical overalls and not a uniform exactly, but they are similarly dressed.
Okay.
And you will note, because Theodore obviously has a military background, that they are wearing what look like army boots to you.
Oh, okay.
So the guy who is leaning in this slump, by the way, has like a shaved head, and looks quite broad. Looks physically fit. He is very pale. You will note. I said his head is shaved. You are aware that Melliore's hand is resting on the top of his head. She is chained to this chair, such that the only way she can touch his head is that he is like leaning his head back against the arm of the chair. But she is bound. Her feet and ankles are multiply wrapped around the legs of the chair. Her wrists are also bound to the arms of the chair, and she's blindfolded.
Oh.
But as you will also see in the room, there is a camera which is pointing at the chair, but the top of the camera has been ripped off.
Okay.
As you step into this space and you take all of this in, you see, and the flashlight is kind of trembling a little bit as the guy is taking it across the scene from one body to the next. It catches a little bit on Melliore's smile. And she says, Theodore.
Melliore, I'm glad to see you're well. I take the flashlight, like I put my pistol away, my handgun. I take the flashlight out of the guy and say, check if these have any identification on them. Check the room with the boxes and like the one that looks like an office. Take stuff, put them on the trunk. Like try to take in as much information. Like this is sort of like, I'm using them now as a recon team. So I start giving instructions to that effect. Make double sure that the camera is disabled just by pulling any wires or breaking the lens or whatever.
You rip the wires out of the wall. The guy runs to the others and they will start looking for stuff to take from this place.
Yeah, as much as they can. And I remove the blindfold from her.
Yeah, she will.
I put my hand. I kiss her in the forehead and said, "You had me worried there. This must be very sturdy chains."
She nods. There's too sturdy.
Let's see if we can do something about them. And of course, try to find either keys or something, and if not, any like equipment that can be used, like bolt cutters or things like that.
Sure. So it won't be that difficult a task for you to find. There are keys in here, but not in the room. No one has brought keys to her chains in with them. But you will find keys, and you will be able to release her.
Okay.
And she will say to you, she'll gesture to the man who's slumped. She says, "This is Braxton. I think you and he should talk a little more."
You're very smart, and always so considerate. I will figure out a way for him to be of help. I look at Braxton. Does he?
He's unconscious.
Reply to the mention of his name?
He's unconscious.
Okay, I gesture to the others that I take him, and
so they start taking him out. She will say, "He is shy, Theodore. He will need encouragement."
Oh. He took you from me. He will be thoroughly encouraged in our ways. He will tell me everything he knows.
She nods. She will say, "They knew too much about. She gestures to herself. You'll see she still has a hole in the front of her dress where they obviously impaled her. Although the skin underneath is now partially healed, it's not fully healed. And she says, they know some of our tricks.
Yes, I would imagine, given the blindfold and the chains.
She nods. But not all.
I just smile and say, come. Isabel has also been worried. She's outside waiting.
So you will go back. You'll hear from the people who are at the back. They have found there is a black van parked behind the building.
Check license, registration, everything. Search it from the inside if they.
So they'll take.
Sorry.
Yeah, they'll take the details. I mean, they can break into it if you want to.
Yeah, and if they can, hotwire it and to take it with them, or if there are keys around that can be used, we can use them.
So, so whilst this is going on and people are kind of bringing stuff out, obviously Melliore will go to speak to Isabel. I don't know if there's anything you want to say or do immediately.
No,
I'm going to oversee this.
Yeah, I want to oversee that we take as much as we can, as much information as we can. If the van can come, also I don't even check the van. I just tell the guys, just turn it on, bring it over. If not, we tow it. I don't care how we do it, because the van might have a contraption like the one they used to capture Melliore. So all of that is intel, actionable information that Theodore is going to take.
So yes,
now leading the efforts.
So what will happen is they will come to you in something of a hurry, and they will report that yes, there is indeed one of these devices in the back.
Okay, bring the van then.
They will also report that they think some kind of alarm has gone off in the van.
Ooh. Use your phones, take pictures of it all.
Yeah, they will do that.
And if any of you know anything about alarms, GPS devices, or the like, try to see if you can shut it off. If not, leave it like that.
So they will try to do that. They don't have trackers themselves handy to kind of put on there. They do try to disable the device, but they fail, and they will tell you that it is
like an integrated device. So yeah.
But yeah, basically, this is good stuff. It's going to be very difficult to do it.
Take pictures
so
of
they
it.
just recommend getting out.
Take pictures of it, manufacturer and things like that.
Yep, they do that.
And then double time, get those boxes in, we're leaving.
And you double time back. Now, actually, it is so close to dawn that you don't have time to go back to the Haven. Luckily for you, Isabel lives on the southern end, right on the southern end of Oxfordshire. So she will allow you to stay at her haven that night. Is there anything that I should be aware of as you, Isabel and Melliore, will be in the car together?
I'm mostly making sure that Melliore is okay. If she needs to be fed first thing next evening, I'll offer myself to help her hunt.
She will say something about, it was very hard not eating Braxton. It was tempting. But I knew you would come, Theodore.
Don't worry about it. I can call Joanne, ask him to take care of Braxton, bring him to full health so I can start playing with him.
She looks pleased with that state of affairs. So you will return back to Isabel's, where you will be able to rest safely and securely. It's worth mentioning that Velvet and Silas, when you get back to the Haven, you will discover that a message has been left for all of you. By all of you, I mean for Silas, Velvet, and Theodore. It's been left on the kind of main table.
It's
get
addressed to all three of us?
Yes.
Okay.
One message for all three.
How close to...
One message. This message is addressed to all three of you that is on the table.
So is it close to dawn?
Be close to dawn, yeah, when you get back.
Fine. Okay. Well, I don't know whether he's... Well, I presume I know where Silas is, and Theo's still out, so I'll leave it until tomorrow morning.
No problem. So, Silas and Velvet, when you retire to your rooms, you will find a message has been left for each of you. Do you intend to read it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think so. So I don't have any. People don't normally do this, so.
No, it's unusual.
Yeah.
So the messages are fairly kind of the thing that you for those of you who kind of care about such things, the writing is very even and precise. It is not necessarily the world's easiest to read writing, but it is nevertheless got a very kind of uniform quality to it.
That's what I was going to say, because if it was sort of readable, it cannot be doctors writing.
Correct.
So
I know. I'll like break a stereotype and I'll be in trouble.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't dare do that. So Silas, the message that you have reads. Oh, I should say you'll be aware it's from Joanne, like the moment you open it. It says you probably never deserved what they did to you, but maybe you did. Regardless, it doesn't matter. I don't know what your plans are, but I hope you use whatever you have left of your humanity to do some good. And then it's just signed, Joanne. Velvet, in your case, and it's a similar kind of handwriting and setup, also signed off by her. It says, I used to think you and I were alike, but over time, I guess I was proven wrong. Your acceptance of this fucked up world baffles me, but I think I can feel someone trying to do some good beneath it. Maybe I was wrong. For the people that you love's sake, I hope I'm right. That's all it says. Do either of you take any reaction at all to that we should be aware of?
How close is it to dawn?
Very. You're kind of coming to bed when you find this.
Just slum down. Yes,
I mean, you've got like 20 minutes or so. I mean, because Silas wouldn't go up to bed like at the last second.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume you've got 20 minutes, half an hour before sunrise. So if you want to do something, you have got time.
Yeah, I go and look for John.
Okay, so I assume you go to the surgery.
Go to the surgery, yeah.
Started doing the
Because
same.
I'm really angry. So basically, I want to have it out there.
Excellent. So the two of you, one of you angrily and one of you
What? Just confused.
confused, make your way to Joanne's surgery. You will find it is, well, she's not there.
Okay. In which case, I make a note to take this up with her tomorrow. And I go.
You know where her room is, of course.
Oh, fine. Well, I'll go there then.
So Silas and Velvet will assume you came about the same time, and that two of you are making your way towards Joanne's room. You can interact or not as you see fit.
I'll say, you got one of these as well.
I hold up the letter. I'm still holding it.
Okay. When we reach Joanne's room, I just walk in. I don't knock.
Okay, you walk into the room. It's not locked. She's not in there, but and Joanne is not someone who keeps a lot of stuff, but what will be evident is things like her wardrobe is open and there are things missing from there.
I'll say, looks like she's gone and done something stupid again.
Oh, she's left Oxfordshire. Fuck. I'll have to talk to her
Well, you know
tomorrow.
what? If she's left, this is a shitty way to leave. That's all I'm saying. So, I guess. Well, it's too late to worry about it now.
Right. Good morning to you, and I'll head back to bed.
So, the nice thing about being a vampire is it's always easy to go to sleep. And both of you do. In fact, all three of you do without real trouble. And you awake the next evening. Theodore, I just want to check in. Is there anything clever you're doing before kind of heading back?
No, checking on Melliore, trying to get as much information as I can about the situation, the people who held her captive and the like. Send a message to Joanne, telling her that I will be taking someone to the Haven that might need medical attention.
Okay. Yeah, you send her a text. You don't get a reply.
Okay. But other than that, I don't think I'm going to be doing something overly clever other than asking Isabel and Melliore, if there's anything I can help them with. I do bring to Melliore's attention that the situation between Isabel and Engel cannot continue much longer, and we need to find a resolution. We need to find a way of either letting everybody else know our true heritage, the true meaning of our blood, or trying to sort things out with Sir Engel in whatever way we think it's appropriate. I would lean towards the first one, but I don't know the consequences of it fully yet.
So they will both take this very seriously as well. And Melliore will say, to come forward, we will need the support of the prince, whoever that is, whoever that turns out to be. But this is a good time to win favors, or whoever becomes prince will need our favor. And Isabel says, I do not know how we can make the first of these things happen, but I also do not think I must return to Engel soon, or he will come looking for me. But I do not think that he is a long-term solution anymore. I do not even think he is a mid-term solution.
Yeah. I talked to Sir William last night, and there is talk about putting Helena towards the trials to become a citizen of Oxfordshire. It seems that the general sentiment is to make the trials fit for a prince, if you know what I mean. Impossible enough. So we have a way of getting rid of her for good. Now, whomever is to become prince after that, I do not know. The Bruja have a say in that, apparently, and I would put the weight of my voice behind Sir William, but I do intend to spend the next month rallying as many people as I can behind the cause of Helena must not be allowed to rule. Oxfordshire has to be for those citizens of Oxfordshire who have proven themselves, and she has proven to be unreliable, untrustworthy. Perhaps I can offer some favors in exchange for boons that we can then use.
Melliore will say, we need to find who will be the next prince of Oxfordshire, and we must be behind them early.
Yes.
Then perhaps we might step forward a little more than we have in the past. Isabel says, I would do what I can, but I will be restricted in where I can go.
We understand. Don't worry about it.
So at that point, I assume you are going to head off.
Let's go to work. Bye-bye. Kisses in the cheek.
Yes, you will definitely get those
out of the room.
So you will be driven back to the Haven with Braxton in tow. And the next, obviously, evening turns up. I'm going to assume, unless anyone is doing anything radical or immediate, that the three of you will be gathered back at the Haven, and you can greet Theodore when he returns.
Yeah.
Because I assume you all want to talk to him. So let's assume that when Theodore gets back, the two of you are there to meet him in the Haven. Over to you.
Everything all right?
Well, I'm not really sure. There's a letter here for all of us, and you probably have a letter from Joanne, who's up to some strange shit again, if you ask me. I don't really have the time of day for it. But I waited. I don't know. I don't even know where she is. And to be honest, I don't really care at this point in time. But I thought I'd flag it to you anyhow. There's a letter on the table. Supposedly it's for all of us. But if it's also from her, I don't think that I have the time or energy to listen to it. So I'm probably going to go out.
Understood.
But one effect worth you knowing. Oh, and we're supposed to show up to Sir Holder this evening.
Yes.
All of us. But you know what? It's her fucking funeral if she doesn't turn up. So leave that at her side.
I approach and take the letter that is addressed for all three of us. It's like, you sure you don't want to know what's in it?
I don't care. I had something directly from her, and that has told me enough to not matter. At that point, I'll turn around and leave.
So, Velvet, where are you intending to go?
I'm going back.
Or are you just kind of going out?
Well, my plan for the evening was to find Adam and chat with him,
Sure.
but also I need to go back to the flat and check on Barnaby. So probably I'll just start by going to the flat.
Awesome. So I'll come back to you in a little bit. Silas, I assume you're staying?
Yep.
Okay, so if you're reading the note, I will let you both know what it says.
Yes.
Again, same writing. It says, our kind is a parasite on this world. We fool ourselves with delusions of grandeur, that we're better than humans. That's why they choose to dismiss them as lesser with just a word, kind. But the truth is, humanity does not need us. We are but shambling corpses that cling stubbornly to a life we do not deserve to have. Humanity does not need vampires. We need them. And sooner or later, like any parasite, the host rallies its defenses to purge them. There are people who are aware of who we are and what we do, and they want us dead. I'm giving you this warning out of respect for the things you did for Joanne's loved ones over these years. Use this warning how you will, but remember, whether it's in a few days or a few hundred years, we'll all be burning in hell for what we've done. I will relish every fucking moment knowing you're all here with me. And that's where it stops.
Is it signed?
Yes.
The like an unintelligible signature,
I mean,
or is
you
it?
recognize it as Joanne's. You recognize it as Joanne's.
I dropped the letter on the table and very determined walk to my room to see if there's about this letter that I could have for myself.
Sure.
Did Theodore read the letter out loud? I'm guessing.
I'm assuming that
Yes, I did.
he did, so you will be able to hear it.
Silas himself perusing it, absolutely with that.
Okay.
What?
So you remain confused reading the letter. Theodore, when you go to your room, yes, there is a very short note to you. It simply says,
Okay.
I bequeath my major boon over Sir Enolf to you. Do with it what you will.
Okay, given this, for me, what Theodore will imagine happened is that she put a rant on the letter for everybody, but probably she took Theodore's advice. Remember when Theodore said, you should think long and hard as to whether or not you want to stay here because you've always hated it. And Theodore was looking out for her. So it looks like she just said her piece on the overall letter and then said, you know what, I'm leaving, I'm leaving town, I bequeath my boon to you.
Sure.
That doesn't make me any less angry because that's, Theodore does not consider this is the way that the conversation or any of this should have happened. But it definitely puts things into perspective. So, yeah. I will go downstairs and meet with Silas.
Okay. Is there anything the two of you want to do? You can have a scene, and then I'll jump to Velvet.
So I go downstairs, showing the note folded, of course. You were correct. She left a note for myself as well. And it makes me... I believe that she just decided to leave Oxfordshire.
I mean,
She's gone. I don't understand why would she write what she wrote. But I guess it makes sense now. It makes sense why she always was the kindest of all of us. She hated what she was, apparently. And I think, being a little, cold-headed here, I think she did the absolute right thing. Leaving without a trace, so we could not find her. The only connections she had, we know of, I can assure you, probably know not where she is. She was the smartest of us all. It doesn't make me happy that she left the way she did, though.
no.
I mean, regardless of her obligations, which she is just outright dismissing and ignoring.
I consider her a friend. We've gone, myself and Velvet, we've transitioned to this life kind of together. I know we've with you as well, but you've kind of had a you always had a head start.
Yeah, and I do
80
understand.
Years?
60.
60 years.
But regardless, I think I did not consider her a friend, not a close one by any means. I'm not gonna lie. I consider her a companion,
Compatriot.
She was part of our unit. And when you have a military background, it helps a lot to think in those terms sometimes. We're part of a coterie, a group, a unit. And she was our physician and someone who could help us keep clearer heads, help maintain our grip on who we were. I treasured that.
It was fascinating to watch her work. To see her, when one of us go fuck up, and how she would fix the poor person. That was fascinating. Really was incredible to watch. And you're right.
I think the main problem that we have here, Solace, is that now our coterie is one person shorter. I believe most of the Toreador are to leave the city at some point. She did mention something along those lines last night. Oh, 2 nights ago. And she's just part of that exodus. I would imagine that the treatment Prince Drogo gave the Toreador did not sit well with them. They did what they needed to do, but other than that, it's not like they loved the situation they found themselves in. I don't blame them.
No.
They fulfilled their duty, and now that there is no prince, they decided to leave. They were not happy. I just wish Joanne would have been a little bit more forthcoming to either of us. I wouldn't have taken it as an insult if she had decided to just let Velvet or yourself know that she was indeed leaving. But, well, I guess it is what it is.
Maybe we'll see her again in 100 years or so, maybe? Or do you reckon she's just gone to ground for good? Or with this?
I do not know. I do not know. I do not know what will become of her. I don't know if we will see her again. I don't even think she is looking forwards to that anymore. I would not be surprised if that is the last we know of Joanne Salt. Forever.
Should we take a moment at some point to make sure we pay respects to the doctor, the good doctor?
Well, I don't think she's dead by any means.
Well, if we're never going to see her again. Yeah, but at least some for us for closure of parting ways. Is that something that happens? Really?
Well, we could certainly try, but I believe Sir Hulda will help us in that transition forcefully.
Talking about business. I had a little chat with Velvet last night.
Yes.
And situation about with, of course, who will be next as prince. And I know Samata's wanted to throw her name into the ring. I don't know who else. But do you know what makes a good leader? I've seen it in you, and I don't see much people. But I saw how you, of course, managed and led the hunt for Takahisa. So if we can find whoever we can both consider will be appropriate for next prince, I will do what I can to leverage, with some advice, my win of the games, because with that I should hopefully be able to pull some weight. I haven't really leveraged that, and we need stability in Oxfordshire. And if Joanne's right in this, and there are people hunting us, like you said you saw in those in the backlands, then that's a problem. That's a major problem, and we need stability to be able to deal with that.
Silas, I know for a fact that we are being hunted. Last night I was on a personal errand, as I said on my messages. I was looking for Melliore. If you remember, those black vans came out of nowhere and took her. They were not kindred. They had a place, an undercover sort of safe facility for questioning. We managed to get as much information as we could, but they were all kind. They were all, from what I gathered, they looked trained, capable, but most worryingly, funded. Doesn't matter if they're incapable. They have the funding. They have the tech. They have the money.
They have
we captured
one.
Yeah, well, Melliore left that one alive. She figured I would want to have a chat with him. And I just let it hang in there so Silas understands what's about to happen in case he wants to be away.
Yeah, a little flashback to a previous person that Silas put for Theodore.
I was hoping Joanne took a look at him, so I guess it just put him on the surgery with an IV and just hope he recovers. Treat him well and chain him up.
I've got some basic first aid knowledge. I might be able to have a look at him, but I've got no idea when they're the capability.
Let's do the minimum. Let's do the minimum. Let's not play with his health. I believe the basics you learned with Joanne. He's okay. He's just pale. He just needs some rest, good food, or enough to nourish him back to health.
Would it be an idea to I show my wrist to speed up, or do you think? It's a technique that Joanne and I have used before to save someone on the point. I would need to
That
hunt
actually.
afterwards. I would need to hunt afterwards, but
That actually gives me an idea, since I'm going to be the questioning. Probably someone who has drink my blood is going to be more amenable to what I do before I start doing it even. Now, there is a problem with that. They took my grandsire. And she doesn't want them... She wants to know everything, but she doesn't want them to have an easy time. Let's not speed up the process. Let's let him sulk and understand the gravity of the situation, his eventual demise. But yes, they are hunting us. I believe that I have actually come across a way to get rid of Helena.
I am
For
always...
if she really, truly, if she truly wants to be the Prince of Oxfordshire, then I suggest that we task her with finding and eliminating this group. Killing it at the head. Nipping it at the bud, as you say it here. Go for the root cause of the problem.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that elders of the city might want, full proof that this group exists.
I have plenty of proof that not only the group exists, but also with a member and several pictures. I will be kind enough to give her some of the information that we find, as long as it's not compromising to Oxfordshire and any of its citizens.
And if you can give me pass on any make any copies of some evidence so that I can show my line.
Melliore and Isabel are going through it as we speak. So the moment they have figured out what is it that can be shared with others, I would assume we would want to notify the knights. You said that Sir Marta is throwing her name in the hat to be prince.
Yes.
If I am totally honest, I do not know her. I don't know her capacity for rule or for leadership. I do know Sir Williams. He tends to be more of a quiet disposition. But that doesn't mean he doesn't know what's going on, and he's not controlling his environment, and he leads with honor. He is polite in his treatment, which says a lot about someone.
There was his name was mentioned at the meet, and there was some concern about him being strong enough, I think physically, to hold the post. Because if Helena is tested and fails, then we'll need someone to pass those tests.
Not if they are already a citizen of Oxfordshire. The test we're going to put to Helena is to see if she deserves to be called such. A prince rule is not one of might. Not anymore. It used to be that people, kindred and kind, deferred to the strongest. If you were the strongest warrior in your tribe, you get to rule until a stronger one or a younger one came and took you out of it. But it became more and more evident that people who were fit to rule, not always, were the strongest. But as long as they had people following them. So no one's going to be a prince unless others say yes, we agree for them to be our prince. That is why Helena is going to face a lot of issues if she comes to Oxfordshire. That's why she's trying to be careful, letting people leave and others to remain and swear loyalty to her. But if we choose not to, she's going to have a very, very difficult time being a prince at all.
Would she be offered the test of metal as well? Because, I mean...
She has to petition for it, but if she doesn't... I mean, in order to go for the test of metal, she has to pass the first test. I don't think we should get bugged. We should, get trapped in the details here, Silas. I think the major point is this. I do not believe that personal strength is a requisite to be a good leader. If you are a strong leader, more than one good warrior is willing to lend their arm to you. And you will know how to face all problems, either by guile or by force. Because that's what leaders do. They lead. So if being a strong warrior, someone with physical prowess and might, is something that the Bruja see as a prerequisite of being a prince, I would please beg you to let them see the folly in that. Because I know you acknowledge that might does not make right.
No. And with the technology that we're more used to, that is that that's been video. I know you're still on the BlackBerry, but in the smartphones that should be coming out, there's some swanky tech coming out there.
There's a lot of elders that are not going to even understand what a smartphone is, let alone want to use one. But Sir William has other Nosferatus, younger Nosferatus, like Soap. They do know their stuff. Mr. Whispers.
Yeah.
They're good at what they do. And if they have the loyalty of other good kindred of Oxfordshire, I believe he would be a strong and just prince.
Means that he is the remaining founding knight in the city. That itself will lend some weight, I think.
Oh yes, I remember you mentioning Sir James Douglas was not throwing his name. Yeah,
he is taking some time.
Yes. So yes, it is the remaining founding knight that has a stake in being a prince. He saw this city come from nothing into what we made it. What they have made it and what we have inherited. Let's take care of that inheritance.
Cool. So I'm going to...
Yes, that's the end.
There. Yeah. Velvet, did you say you're going to the flat first?
Yeah, I mean, I'll text Adam because I want to know where he is, but I have to go to the flat anyway. So in case he's at the flat, I'll go there first.
He will tell you that he is at the flat.
Okay. I'll say I'm on my way.
He will say, along with other people. His text.
I'm really annoyed at the moment, so I don't reply to that.
Okay.
I don't want shit off of you now.
So when you get to the flat, you will hear some conversation. Like there is a conversation going on.
Yeah.
You will recognize Barnaby's voice, and you will hear a woman's voice you do not recognize.
Okay.
And what are you doing? Coming from the front room. You suspect. Oh, Adam will have texted you to say he's in the bedroom, just so you know.
Okay. I don't know what the layout of the flat is, but I think I've kind of assumed I have to get to the bedroom via the living room. Like all the other rooms.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that too.
So I'll go into the living room.
Okay.
And yeah, what do I see?
So Barnaby is in the living room. He's standing by the window. There is the woman that has been frozen in your fridge for quite a long time now. is now sitting on your couch. One of the things that is evident is that she doesn't look very healthy. I mean, obviously, people who've been put in freezers for a long time, periods of time, often don't look healthy. And she does not look like she's fully recovered from that experience.
Yep.
She also, of course, looks very pale, and she is obviously a kindred.
Yeah.
She's not making any attempt to appear like she's anything but a half-frozen corpse. And to Velvet, from Velvet's point of view, she is wearing pretty kind of unfashionable, cheap clothes. They don't even look like they're properly fitted.
Okay. So, in which case, when I get in, I'll say, "Evening, Barnaby."
He says hi.
Turn to the woman and say, "And hello."
She says, "Hello. I'm Nikki."
Right, I'm Velvet. You will have met
She
Adam.
holds out a hand.
I'll shake her hand.
Okay, her hand is cold even for a kindred,
Even
but
for a
she will
dead
shake
person.
it.
Okay.
She says, "Oh, are you a friend of Barnes?"
Let's say yes.
You see Barnaby like wince.
Yeah. I'll say
And he just turns to the window, puts his back to the both of you.
I'll say Barnaby has been staying here for a couple of days. And
Lovely flat you've got.
Thanks. I mean, it's not exactly how I'd like it, but point of fact, it does for my needs. So you'll have to excuse me for asking, but what brings you to Oxfordshire?
I wanted to see how my little boy was doing. Barnaby says, "Shut up."
I'll say, and that is hopefully something that you found out in the last day or so.
Well, I'm starting to. I'm a little bit disoriented, to be honest with you. I tell you, I'm so hungry I could murder someone right now. It's just a joke. I'm not really going to murder someone. Sorry, I sometimes
really worried at this. I say to Barnaby, "You have not given her something to eat."
He says, "Of course, I have given her something to eat." He says, "Yeah, a little bit."
When? How long ago? Because she's in this flat, and I don't want her losing her shit here, right?
Oh no, I won't do that. I wouldn't lose my
Well, it's not exactly your choice, right?
Look at the mouth on you.
This is my flat. You two are guests here, under my.
Barnaby says, he says, "Mum, this is her domain, for God's sake. Get it together."
I'll
She says, sorry.
I'll say, you're still hungry.
Yeah. Murderous.
Well, I don't think that you are able to go out and eat, correct, Barnaby?
Well, she could, but I mean, look at her.
Well, I mean, if she's discovered.
I'd bring something back, but I guess that's going to make things more. I'll see what I can find. I'll get some bags.
All right.
She says, "No, Barn, I don't like bags. You know that."
I'll say, I'll see if I can get hold of him, and or like take him to the side to have a conversation with him. I'll say, look, independently of whatever she needs for right now, we need a long-term solution to this. You don't live here, and she doesn't live here, right? I'm assuming you have a place. Can she go there with you?
I thought this was the whole deal, that you were going to help me with them for a bit.
Oh, this is that person?
Yeah.
Right.
See what I mean?
Right. So you're doing what? You're going to stay here?
He shrugs.
All right. I have to sort something out about this, because that is not exactly what I had in mind.
Look, I don't care where you put her, honestly. I'm gonna go get her some some bags to shut her up. Is that all right?
Sure, right. I have some other things I have to do. Oh, so I told you I think everything is fine with Sir Francis now. So you're all right going out. Just,
How did you pull that off?
Well, I didn't pull it off exactly, but transpires that Sir William has spoken to her and made it clear that that is not okay. So, of the hierarchy.
Well, hopefully that'll do it.
Just, don't go near her if you see her, right?
No
Just in
fear of
case,
that.
No.
I won't ever go near her.
Hey, listen, just while I think of it, Brick and Soap are all okay. Got out of there.
That's good.
So yeah. All right, you go do
When you
that.
say
I've gotta-
okay, do you mean like really okay or kind of okay?
I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, I'm sure it's not the best experience of their lives, right? But they're intact.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well,
that's good to know. Thanks.
I'm gonna speak to Adam. So when
he will head out.
And then I'll go into the bedroom. And I'll shut the door.
So Velvet has been around the block long enough to know, as you're making your way through the front room, that you have Nikki's attention. And by that, I mean she's checking you out as you pass through towards the room to Adam.
I'll ignore that. In all the other things, the hierarchy of things going on for now, I'll ignore that. Yeah. I'll
You're
register
not unused to people finding you attractive. It's pretty standard, but just so you're aware.
Yeah. Okay. That does inform this conversation somewhat. So So I'll go in.
So Adam is lounging, some might say for Adam quite provocatively, on the bed.
Okay. I'll shut the door. This is not what I was expecting from the text. Okay. So I'll shut the door. And I'll go and join him on the bed.
He says, have they gone? I heard the door.
Barnaby's gone. And she is not gone. But I have got to work on that. There is a tie up of this.
She's so loud.
Yeah, she is loud, isn't she? And I don't think she can stay here, really, after tonight. I'm going to have to sort something out fairly quickly.
I don't think she can stay here either.
No. I mean, we could go out for now. Someplace.
So, I had this thought. After everything that's happened, we can go out. We can go anywhere we want. We should be making the most of this time.
I know. We should do
so
it.
Let's do it. I would have suggested he looks into the like towards the wall, towards the front room. He says, but maybe going out's better.
Well, if I can sort it out so that she's gone by the time we come back, it'll be a better end to the evening. I have anyway something that I need to talk to you about, and it's better to do that when there's not other people around to listen.
Sure. Well,
it's
I'm here for you, Velvet. Whatever you need.
I know. Sorry, it's been on my mind a lot.
Did you want to talk about it here? Or...
No, they can hear everything. I always remember that about Joanne. She can always hear everything. Let's go someplace else, somewhere quiet. Why don't we go to...
He grimaces when you say that. So you make your way out, Adam is very polite and very nice, and obviously, but it's clear he does not like Nikki. Do
Okay.
you? He's not making it clear to her. She doesn't seem to have any idea he doesn't like her. In fact,
Okay.
she's quite chatty with him and you as you leave.
Okay.
He will just be polite, but obviously says the minimum number of words that it takes to get from your room to the front door and out.
Okay. Well, then, so as we're walking out, I'll be holding his hand.
Oh,
Because I can, right?
yes,
So, yeah,
because you can.
yeah, this is like the radical change in our life. So my thought is to go back to one of our favorite restaurants, not the one where I got kidnapped from.
Yeah, it's probably not the vibe you want. Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the ones that we kind of because we always used to go quiet places, right? So
yeah.
So I'll take him there, and then we can talk.
Sure. So you will be in a very nice restaurant,
Yeah.
in a private, at a table that's kind of quiet and not being kind of overlooked by anyone else because you have the money for that kind of thing. And, obviously they will be bringing you whatever food and drink you care to ask for.
Yep.
I don't know how much pretense of that you're making.
I mean,
but
enough
yes,
to order food. So, yeah.
Adam is quite different. You suddenly realise that it's been a long time, actually, where he has been very scared of being outdoors and very, very kind of paranoid and careful. And it's not to say that he is not still a bit paranoid and careful and a bit kind of looking over his shoulder, but there is a palpable difference. He seems much more relaxed and much more himself.
So if we're sitting at a table that has like a booth, and I can be sitting next to him, or like rather than across from him. Okay. So I'll take his hand,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll say, we haven't really had a chance to talk about what happened at Serenol's place. And I've been reflecting on it and thinking about it, and I think we do need to talk about it.
Okay.
Do you remember a while back I came to talk to you about Theodore? He said that he had something to do with Miyuki because he wanted her to make a decision, and he didn't want her to be influenced by.
I remember.
And then we laughed about it because we said that's not how things are, right? We realized it doesn't work that way between us. It must have been some sort of strange thing between the two of them.
Well, it's different, isn't it?
Right, that's what I thought too. But when I was in that place, there was a point where he just made me so angry, and I threw myself at him, and before I knew it, my teeth were in his neck. And Adam, it tasted good. It tasted really good. And I thought, if I can feel that about this man who I hate as fiercely as I love you, then there has got to be something in it. There's got to be.
I mean, we know that blood tastes good. We know it does. But that's not the same, is it? You were taking that from a man that you hated. You were getting your revenge for everything he'd done. Of course that would be good. But that's not how it is with us. It's something we do together. Something, I was thinking, we've been so careful lately, but now we could do that again. Couldn't we? I mean, we could do it tonight.
I want that. I
Me
do
too.
more than I can't even think straight. But
But that's just it, Velvet. We don't need to worry anymore. We don't need to think about it. We can just do it. You and me. Right now. If we want to. Squeeze your hand.
sorry, you've frozen. So
okay.
I just heard you. All I heard was he said, "That's just it, Velvet. We don't need." And then everything after that, I didn't get.
Oh, okay. So he basically said that we don't need to wait. We can kind of have this right now. We can have it tonight if we want to. And he will squeeze your hand and look suggestive in your direction.
I'll say
You're being manipulative all around.
I'll say I love you, and I loved you a long time before I got to be this way. We don't need that. It's artificial. And it doesn't matter if we give it up because we know how we feel about each other. Right?
Oh, yes, but I don't see why we can't have it all together. And you are both clearly entering into social combat at this point. Clearly. So he is basically trying to persuade you that'd be an awesome idea to chomp down on each other a little bit.
Yeah.
And you, I imagine, are trying to persuade him that this will be a terrible idea.
Yes, for all the reasons I've discussed. Yeah.
So I'm going to suggest that because you are both mutually bloodbound,
yes,
and because neither of you strictly initiated this in a kind of immediate, as in you were kind of talking about it together, that I'm not going to make the blood bond force either of you into an action at this point.
Okay.
Might happen later, but right now it's just going to be a check. So I would like you to make, I believe, a charisma and persuasion roll, because I think you have been trying to persuade him. If you wish to flex your presence, let me know. If you don't, that's fine. You can obviously rouse for the check, should you want to. And you can spend willpower, should you want to.
Okay, yeah, I don't think that he's going to do any of these things. I'll make the check, but I don't think he's going to spend any of those, do any of those things.
Excellent. So I'm going to make the check for him while you are making that check. Oh, wow. Horrendous. Oh, my God.
That's pretty bad. I've got 3.
Well, much to my disgust.
You have plenty. You have plenty of dice to
You could
re-roll.
do a willpower. You could re-roll 3 dice if you want to spend willpower on this.
Yeah, so I know kind of from a mechanics point of view I can do that, but how I'm seeing this is that he doesn't. So he is not doing a good job of rejecting this, right? Because it is a thing that he wants.
He's not that invested.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
so it doesn't make. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Okay. So you seem to be winning the argument, and Adam.
Oh wow! You must have rolled terribly.
I know. I'm also Adam.
He rolled terribly.
Yes, he did. But he doesn't step out of the argument entirely.
Okay.
And he says, if you can look me in the eye and tell me you don't want it, then I won't ask you to do it.
Well, I can't do that. There is no.
You can lie.
I can lie, but I.
Sorry.
So okay, he will say he'll say. I can't do that, and you know I can't. I can't look you in the eye and tell you that.
And why don't we just do it? I've been thinking about it, Velvet, all this time. About you.
You know, just because the both of us want this, that doesn't make it. It doesn't make it a good idea. It's. Okay, so at this point he just crumbles, right? So he'll just concede at this point, and he'll say, maybe you're right, it doesn't hurt. It's been such a long time, and I've missed you so much.
So he will look like he is going to take advantage of your crumbling will.
Yes.
And will lean into. He'll begin by kissing you, but you'll be aware of him working his way kind of down towards your neck. Is Velvet going to try and hold on?
I think he is, because he does care about this. I just think he's, weak-willed when it comes to Adam, right?
Okay, so I think what I would like you to do is I would like you to make an intelligence and resolve roll for me.
Okay.
Because now you are having to fight the blood bond. So Adam wants this. He really wants it. He's made it very clear he wants this.
I don't like not giving him the things he wants.
This is the thing. You kind of want to make him happy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He's a nice guy. He's the best of all
terrible.
guys.
Yeah, exactly. There's no man better
happy.
than him. None.
There is a lot of your blood is saying, "Come on, let's do this."
Yeah. Okay, so I have 3 successes.
It's what you needed because your blood bond is only strength 3 at the moment because you've not been feeding on each other.
Yes.
So you can stop him before he sinks his fangs into your neck, should you wish to. You are aware of this weird compulsion to, you are the thoughts of, the arguments that you've had, the thoughts around Theodore and Miyuki are present enough in Velvet's mind, and he has been quite resolved that he wants to change this thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Relationship. So what does he do as Adam's lips part to allow his fangs to start to press against the flesh of your neck?
So I will, instead of letting that happen,
yes,
I will. So I'm not going to move away from him. I'm going to move him, or move his. So I'll take the back of his head, and bring his head back to my face, so I can kiss him again.
Okay. So you are aware, this happens, but you're aware that it's not an entirely smooth thing, right? Because on some level, he really wants to feed on you, and you're stopping him doing that. But it's kind of not cool to say, "Hey, stop kissing me."
No, exactly.
And you have been winning the argument, so he kind of allows it to happen, but you're aware that he's a bit annoyed by it. But he will nevertheless kiss you, and he'll kind of calm after a bit. And your evening will pass pleasantly. But you're aware that his need does not entirely go away. You are keeping control for the moment.
Okay.
And I think that might be a nice place to take a little break. So, before we jump into the breaky bit of the break, do we have any shout outs or things to say? I believe we do.
Indeed.
Phil?
I mean, friend, one thing that you may have seen on social media are our friends over at Arklands, which we were able to playtest at Dragonmeet last year. They are very close to releasing their full Arklands now. It will be released in 2 days' time, from what I understand, as PDF. I think that maybe about the time the books are coming out themselves. I'm not sure, but I'm so really looking forward to getting that. And you might see a name or two you might recognize in there. But as well as for another one, another RPG that we've seen at Dragonmeet called the Spy Game is coming out as well, which I believe Rachel from Blood on the Thames has been working on Smart 4, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I believe so.
But as well as there is something in there that fans of here may recognize when you come to find it. So that is going to be amazing. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Just you wait.
Cool.
Do we have any relationship map things?
So
Bex?
yeah, so clearly there's a massive relationship map update, but I have not done it because I'm too distressed.
Lockdown. Because
so
lockdown happened, and
yeah, exactly.
we don't know how to work in lockdown. It's crazy. This new.
No, it's not lockdown. I'm distressed over Joanne's update, and anyway,
You couldn't remove her. Oh yeah,
yes.
because we have to put a dead tag on.
So anyway, it's not done, but I promise to do it before the end of the Chronicle. But maybe I'll do it on the last day of the Chronicle. But as I'm on the subject of Lane, I just want to say hello.
Hi,
Well done, congratulations!
Yay!
Yeah, I think we had good news, didn't we, about Lane's surgery? So that was great. But yeah, wishing you a real speedy recovery, and I hope you're feeling better.
Cool.
Awesome.
And I think the final shout out is for those of you who were aware. Auditions are going well. So Blood of the Severn is running auditions for permanent cast, and I think not the last post from yesterday, but last week's. We have everything explained there of the 3 plus half local and an extra remote slot for the half of the Chronicle. So submissions are accepted until the end of today, like in midnight. Like you have like 3.5 hours. So if you have not submitted, remember Blood on the Thames at gmail.com and send an email with the subject Blood on the Severn auditions. We have had quite a few people that are interested, and I think the response has been very, very good, and I'm super stoked by that. I mean, it's really nice to see a lot of people, especially people that have played with us at some point in either the Blood on the Severn or the Blood on the Tamesis Memoriam one shots. So remember, tonight, deadline, midnight, I cut it. So that's it.
Be there.
So the other thing to say is we are giving away more stickers. So the algorithm has been recalibrated away from clans now. So if you wish to win some stickers, then if you're watching us live, if you put into chat the best of all V5 disciplines, then it will sort through the answers given and select from the ones who get it right a winner, which we will announce at the end of the episode. And I believe that is all of the shout outs for now. So I make it 20 to 9. So let's say we will be back live at 10 to 9 for the second half of the episode. So see you soon.
In 10 minutes.
Have a nice cup of tea or whatever. Bye. Hello and welcome back to Season 3, Episode 8, Part 2. So at this point, we are going to move into a sort of time passes, which hilariously I was going to try and do in Episode 5, but we've now got here halfway through Episode 8, so yes, can only do it the storyteller pays off in the end. The way we're going to run this is I'm going to give a few kind of updates as things are going on. We might dip into some key role-playing scenes, and players will also let me know things that they might be up to, that we just kind of, so we're aware of what they're doing over that time passes. So one of the things to mention is fairly early in the month, Ota will leave Oxfordshire, and indeed the country, as far as you're aware, and be on his way. Theodore, in the early part of the month, will commence, with Silas's help, initially just to stabilize him, a slow recovery and then breaking down of Braxton.
I mentioned to Chenli that she can stay with the Coterie for as long as she sees fit, because I'm going to be doing a lot of political maneuvering, and I want her to be I want the support of Oxfordshire to be behind her, so she ends up, as I promised, being regent of the Tremere and owing me a lot for it.
So, yes, because at the moment you kind of owe her as well. It's a little bit grey because she has been doing bits and bobs for you too.
Yeah, I tried to iron that out with her, but it's like, I imagine that happens in the background. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is the boon I will be expecting out of.
So, apart from torturing Braxton, politically speaking, I want to check in with Theodore and potentially the rest of the Coterie in terms of your general political movement over the month. Now, you've mentioned, Theodore, that you want to try and swing things against Helena. You've also mentioned that you want to try and get backing for Chenli to be the regent of Oxfordshire. These are two very different things. Obviously, you can try and attempt to do both things, but that makes it harder to get traction on each, if you know what I mean. It's harder to swing two things when you're trying to persuade everybody, because people are very simple and they like simple things. So, are you going to try and do both things? Are you going to try and do one thing? Where's your priority? And obviously, are you getting the Coterie behind you and other Coterie members? Are you involved in this or other political moves of your own?
I think I'm going to be trying to do both things, but I think the Coterie's support is going to come to everything related to Helena and the Prince situation. I think they're not, they offer their help with that because it's Oxfordshire. What I'm doing for Chenli is more of on a personal level. Okay. Yes, I'm trying to bring stability to Oxfordshire, but I am personally going to benefit out of this. So I think it's more of a Theodore thing.
Also worth mentioning that you met your desire, of course, in finding Melliore, so any willpower you spent, the superficial one you get back. So the way I'm going to resolve the political thing, just so as you know, is kind of like a project without the project dice. That there will be a kind of a single roll that will relate to this playing out. Sorry, Velvet, over to you.
Sorry, just on the matter of political things, I also want to spend time chatting to Brick about how shit elders are and what we should do about it.
Excellent.
Then I want to talk to Adam about the same thing, because, he should be invested in that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I have to. At some point, I will have a conversation with Brick and Soap, discussing how I put my neck in the line for them in front of Sir Enolf. And any help that they have will be appreciated. I will not try to secure a forceful life boon out of that or anything, because that's potentially what could have happened.
Are you trying to ask for the support? You're asking for their support on the politics side of things, or are you asking
if
for their support
they can help
ways?
me? I think I'm gonna ask for their support in both things, because I think they can support me in both things, but only if they agree to what I'm doing. It's basically, I'm not going to force them.
Okay.
If they agree that Helena should not be prince, then help me with that. If they agree or they have no particular views on who the regent of the Tremere should be, then help me out with Chenli,
Okay. They are more pro getting involved in the Chenli side of things.
Brilliant. Then I exclusively use my Nosferatu aid. Their Nosferatu aid on that front.
They will do that. All right. So, am I right in thinking that Velvet and Silas, you are supporting Theodore in his move to try and swing the city further against Helena?
Yep.
I should add,
yeah.
you are not the only anti-Helena voices in the city. But it's not to say that everybody is necessarily convinced yet. So it's to give a sense of where the city is. So what I would like, Theodore, is for you to make a politics plus status roll.
Politics plus status, dude. That is
You will be able
tough one
to get a success from Velvet's support in this, because Velvet is actually quite savvy in Oxfordshire politics. You will also get an extra dice for Silas's support.
And one extra
he, of
die.
course, was the winner of the games. And you will get one other bonus dice for the kind of support, and not the frontline support, but for the kind of background advice and support that Isabel will give you.
Okay, so that's two
She's
extra
also
die.
very politically astute.
Yeah, it's 2 extra die for them. Do I get my? It's my normal status, not my. Because this has
No, your Sabbat War status will count in this case. Obviously, you cannot rouse for this roll, and you cannot spend willpower on it.
Yes,
So it's a pure roll. And for those who are like going along at home, going, "What is that storyteller doing?" Essentially, I'm working this a little bit like Theodore was trying to do a project to get a boon, but instead of trying to get a boon out of an individual, he's trying to get a kind of a boon or a political support from the whole of the city, or as wide a range as he can get. That means the difficulty is high, but if he is successful, he will potentially create a shift that enough people will be persuaded that even those who might be on the fence will go, well, if everyone's saying it, I might as well say it too.
So I'm going to do a politics plus status roll with the 3 extra die and an extra success. Do I get to add my inspiration emphasis? Well, I have it on leadership, but what I'm doing is rallying
I
people.
will allow it to apply, yes, because I think the way you're going to do this is by going to people and being, I've seen the difficulty I've set for this, so you can have the extra dice. I should say this is on a kind of sliding scale difficulty. So if you get a few successes, there are some people that will automatically kind of, be very amenable. There are other people who are on the fence. You might get with a few more, and you'll need a very high difficulty to change people who are utterly opposed to you.
Okay. So just to make it clear, I'm gonna do a. Mechanically, it doesn't matter. Is a charisma plus politics, because my charisma is the same as my status, so I don't have to manually put it there, and I'm adding the 4 dice.
Yeah.
So if you say charisma or whatever.
Yeah, I won't be like, how dare you? Yeah, that's good.
So, well, cross your fingers, chat.
So the impact of this roll are going to come in later in the session, and it represents a thing of Theodore and Velvet and Silas going around the city, trying to swing people and persuade them. 7
successes, critical win.
Fuck.
Oh, I'm sorry. Velvet gave me an additional full success, 8 successes, critical win. Bam! Oh yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Hold on.
Had to be of help. Didn't have to do much. Hooray!
Theodore, I would also like you to make a second similar but less loaded roll, which is also going to be a politics and status roll. But this one doesn't have any of the other bonuses. Your inspiration won't count, nor will Isabel be hardcore supporting you on this one. And I believe the Coterie aren't. However, you will get a bonus 2 dice, one from Brick and one from Soap. They are not helping you in a useful political way. What they are doing is they are snooping around and giving dirt on various people and kind of good times to talk to them and that kind of thing. They're just helping, giving you a bit of an edge in terms of information.
Okay.
All right. And this is about Cheng Li trying to persuade people that it will be an awesome idea that she be the regent in the New World Order.
Do I get her help as well?
No. As in, she is helping you, but the point is that you're trying
this
to
is my
persuade
project to persuade people to hear her. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
So whilst he is doing that, let me just check in with the other two of you. Now, Velvet, you obviously are trying to persuade Adam that he really shouldn't drink your blood.
Yes.
And you also mentioned something else. Oh yes, you're talking to Brick. Yes.
Yes, I need to talk to Brick, but there's another thing.
6 successes. Yeah.
So I also need to find Barnaby and his mum someplace to live during this period of time.
Well, that's a relatively trivial thing to do if you're not rushing it.
Yeah. Also, I need to go and see Freddie. And and then otherwise talk to Adam about this, and also potentially, pending the outcome of the conversation with Brick, talk to him about how terrible elders are and what we should do about it.
What I want you to do, I'm going to do this in the reverse order. I'm going to ask you to make a roll with Brick, and then we're going to play a quick scene with him.
Okay. Yep.
So what I would like you to do is make a, I think, a charisma and politics roll.
Okay. This is my specialism.
Because this is going to enable you to come up with appropriate examples of why elders are shit and the terrible things they've done in the past.
Okay. Can I apply my specialism?
Yes. You absolutely can.
Okay. That is 6 successes. I don't know if I'm reading this right. Six.
Okay, that's pretty good. When you were like 1 success, I was like, wow, that's really unlucky for Velvet.
That's really terrible.
1 success on the hunger dice, and then
yeah, and then all right, cool.
The whole.
So essentially, then, whilst Theodore is going around trying to persuade everybody that Cheng-Li should be in charge, and also all of you are trying to persuade everybody that Helena's not very good, and she should be challenged and made to really prove herself in a really awful manner if this is going to be a thing. Velvet, you go to see Brick a number of times through the month, and just kind of hang out and talk about those damn elders and how awful they are and how unfair it all is. And Brick is quite agreeable, and as time goes on, as you see him more, he kind of relaxes a bit more around you, because obviously Velvet is very smooth and very easy to hang out with and to talk to. And so one evening, you'll probably be somewhere that maybe is not to Velvet's taste, in that he's probably like sitting on a wall somewhere.
What?
Just kind of hanging out
People
on a street.
do that?
He does. I mean, you can obviously try and steer him somewhere else.
Well, I mean, if I've been hanging out with him for a while, then I probably realise this, right? But then I'm not dressed like this.
Yes. The thing you will also realise, of course, is that Brick cannot go into human areas.
Okay, yes,
because he has a dent in the side of his head and looks like he should be dead. And therefore, this means that he often just hangs out in random places or, empty, or buildings after people have left them for the night, things like that.
Okay, yep.
So you're sitting there. Oh, he's sitting on the wall. You can be as you wish. And I imagine you've regaled him with some story about the injustices of Oxford, right?
Yeah, something terrible that Wallace did, like murdering me.
Yeah. And he'll say, I'm glad that fucker's off the street.
Yeah, I'm more glad every day that passes.
But you're right, he's not the only one.
No. I don't honestly think I've met one of them that
Do you know...
I would... What?
You've not met one of them that what?
Well, I've not met one of them that I give the time of day or night to. They all seem to be the same to me.
A lot of them go that way. Some of them better than others, but... Did you know that the knights of this city don't go out to hunt themselves?
Yeah, I heard something like that. But
they got a bunch of us running around for them, bringing them their meals to their doorsteps while I sit there talking about the past.
Right. I mean, There is no way in hell that I want to spend the rest of my life as a glorified takeaway boy.
Your boy Theodore, I mean, he talks a good talk about, he's like Sir William, yeah, good night, and how these noble elders need to stand up against Helena and stop the city sliding down. But if you ask me, it's not the elder knights we want to be putting in charge, is it?
Oh, I don't really think so. But you know what? Lay off Theodore. He's a good guy. He'll do the right thing.
I've got a lot of time for Theodore. He's a good man. You don't forget when people come for you in a crunch,
No, I know that.
I'm just saying that maybe someone like Theodore has done more for this city the short time he's been here by our standards than a lot of those elder knights have lately. I mean, wasn't he the one that led that charge to get revenge?
Yeah.
Isn't he the one taking a stand against Helena?
Yeah.
Not that I have a big problem with Helena, to be honest with you. But I'm just saying, you shouldn't judge people just by their age.
You know what? If we have found a way to put Theodore in charge here, he would do the right thing. And he would stand by his word for sure.
I agree with you. The thing is, if we tried to put Theodore in charge, they'd kill him. But they wouldn't kill him because he's a bad leader. They'd kill him because he's young.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Well, what's
Thank you, Ghost of Theodore.
What's the sway then? I mean, it's not. I can't say that I haven't given thought about what would happen if somebody younger was in charge, but I can't think of a way to make that happen. I mean, they have all the power, right?
You got to go in baby steps, Velvet. That's the thing. You can't just topple them all in one go.
But the opportunity is now, right?
Well, the opportunity is now, I would say, and I would say that there's a change coming. Big change. I don't mean here. I mean bigger. But the thing about change is sometimes you have to wait for it. Can't happen too fast, it won't happen at all. I would say that Helena's more open-minded than a lot of people give her credit for.
I'm helping Theodore in this because I said to him that I would. What I really want is somebody in charge who's going to leave me the hell alone. If she's going to do that, then so be it.
Well, I think she might. She might not. I mean, she's not perfect, but she's also in a bit of a difficult position right now.
Oh?
So she's more likely to grant your request now than she will be later down the line.
But this place is not even like other places, from what I understand.
Nope.
What if we just left and leave them to their knights and goddamn horses?
I suppose we could do that, but it's also a safe place. There are a lot of places not so safe these nights. Here's the thing, Velvet. You're a good man, and you've seen firsthand that even though they think they're indestructible, get a few of us together, and it changes. Maybe that could happen again.
Who is it you got in mind?
He shrugs. So that's a good question. I'm keeping my eyes on how things fall out. There's going to be a lot of things happening these next few nights. I think it's just wise to have your eyes open and be ready to run at the right time, if you're up for it again.
I reckon so.
And if you ever find yourself in a position where, he shrugs, maybe Wallace gets out, or maybe there's another one of these fuckers that needs going down, well, I know a few people that might be interested.
Well, that sounds like an additional level of safety, if you ask me.
Well, that's what I'm all about, Velvet. Additional levels of safety.
Well, that about sways it then, right?
Right.
Well, you have my number, right? Call me when you need.
Engel's friend. And he will offer you his hand again.
I'll shake his hand. Even though I'm
He,
presumably repulsed by it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not so much his hand that's the issue. It's just to shake it, you have to get close to his face.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just disturbing. There is, even though you're a walking corpse, right? You know that you're a walking impossibility, but you look like a person.
Yeah.
You know, your head is
Also,
not
I
like
look
hanging off or anything,
Right?
and you're also hot, which helps.
Yeah.
So there is just some part of your brain, even now, recoils from him.
But
He
I'll
says,
shake his hand.
one last thing.
What?
There might be beef between Reading and Oxfordshire soon.
Wouldn't surprise me.
He says, but whatever plays out, Brona's okay. If you tell her you're a friend of mine, she'll be okay to you.
All right. That's good to know.
And I'd appreciate it if you see someone going for her, you give her a chance to survive.
All right. I'll do that.
And with that, he will part company with you. So you will, Velvet will know, by the way, Brona, the Brona he's referring to is Brona Hughes,
Brona
and
Gain.
she was one of the contestants in the games and fought for Reading.
Is the one with the tattoos, right?
She's the one with the tattoos, of the middle fingers on her hands.
Well, Velvet won't know this because he didn't pay attention to the games, but he'll know who she is. Yes.
Yes, you will know. You will know who she is. That's the main thing. All right. So something else that is going to happen fairly early on in the month, Silas, is that Finn is going to come collect you for some business.
Yep.
And I think the thing that you will Silas will remember, of course, is that you and he were told to kind of make a few moves yourselves about things. In a slightly different way than Theodore's been making. Obviously, you've been swinging the city against Helena, but there was a slightly more specific, let's get a bit of support for our good old Bruya people in there as well. So Finn will pick you up, he'll be in the car. He'll be like, all right, Silas.
I'm guessing at this point Theodore might have got me some information about some intel about the situation and things.
What situation?
So, what Theodore and Silas previously discussed about Silas getting some copies of intel for him to.
Yeah. Well.
Oh yes. Okay. Yeah.
If I get any information from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially, just to give you a quick idea of how that's panning out it won't be yet that you'll have broken Braxton. You will break him because it's a matter of time.
Yeah, it'll
No
happen.
one comes to rescue him dramatically. You have all of the things at time at your disposal. You have infernal, freakish shadow powers.
They're not
You have a lot
infernal.
of experience.
They're just from the abyss.
So I said infernal and immediately felt the internet seethe. Like, how could he possibly call it infernal power?
They're not.
Sorry,
infernal.
internet.
They're nice.
It's not infernal.
They're
I'm much massive.
Abyssal.
They're abyssal. No, they're abyssal, and I'm sorry, and I'll revoke my.
The more you know.
But yes, you have all of these advantages in your pocket,
But not a lot of
There's no
time because
rush.
I'm doing a lot of politicking. For which I must say, you have not asked me, but I will say nonetheless. On my role to help Cheng Li, I got 6 successes, critical win.
Yeah. Fucking.
No, I did clock it, and I said the words. Oh, I didn't hear critical win though. So 6 successes. Okay.
6
Noted,
successes,
noted.
critical win. So it's a
All
6
right, so you
successes.
won't have much information yet from Braxton from that. You will have seen the photos. I imagine Theodore is not hiding them. Shout if you are, of things like the inside of the van. So you will have seen the equipment with the kind of it's like mounted on a little turret, sort of very high-powered stake gun, effectively, and also a net gun with a winch into the back of the van. They will have a number of what look like.
Sorry, Peter. I will be very interested in.
rounds.
I will be very interested in showing Silas all the pictures of the van all the pictures that we took of the van, the inside of the van, the underbelly of the van, when the guys were trying to, or when the hood was open because we broke into the van. So he might, from the pictures, deduct whether or not the engine has been modified, or if the electrical system, or whatever. That's why I thought of pictures of the van to show them to Silas.
Sure. So it'll be evident, Silas,
all of that.
The van is very well kept. It looks like it's been very highly tuned. It looks like there has been some modification to the engine. I mean, the shots of the engine are fairly hastily taken, but rather than kind of like an every angle possible, but they're not bad. It looks like it's got, that this van has got very good suspension. You think there is a number of signs of the van has been reinforced on the inside as well. This is a serious bit of business that has gone on here. These are people that mean business. There is also evidence the van has been customized to house these weapons. That there are people with skill and training have done this work. That is evident to Silas. But let us jump back to you and Finn in the car. You're driving through town. Finn is driving at the moment. Actually, no, probably you're driving, right?
Yeah.
Finn's going to get you to drive so he can relax.
I will have a case full of photos. I'll have printouts because
he'll be looking through them whilst you're driving.
As I explained, kind of the other situation with that.
This is terrible.
You don't say. And we're getting even more and trying to get some more information as we go. But that's what we've uncovered so far. So the playing field's changed.
He nods. He looks very serious. Looks like they've come over from Vienna.
Heard about that. Which
strange to think of it happening here, I understand a lot of things happen overseas a lot, but I don't know, this happening here. I don't like it. He'll give you directions to a pub called Slugs that you will recognize. It is the place, the hangout where Sally is sometimes with her students.
Uh-oh. Is she causing some issues, is she? Or is everything okay?
Well, let's just say that Sally has not yet stated her position politically.
Right.
So I thought I might try and persuade her a little bit. Sally, she's a tough nut to crack, so he cracks his knuckles. Says, you ready?
Nope, but let's get this the fuck over with.
He says, there'll probably be a lot of people in here. I don't suppose you could clear them out, could you?
And do you want me to talk them out, or
I don't really care.
All right.
Do whatever you have to do, Silas. I just want them out of the room, so they don't get in the way.
Okay.
Right. So you go into Slugs. So Slugs is this kind of fairly dingy student pub that looks like it hasn't seen much love in a long time, but does sell very, very cheap booze and has quite a few people. Not as many people as the last time you were in. And you will note there are not many people at Sally's table this time around. Even though Silas is not the most perceptive person on the planet, even he will become aware that Sally shoots you a glare when she notices that you've come in, and you feel like it's directed at you personally and not at Finn. Finn will have his hands in his pockets and will be strolling over towards Sally's table. What are you doing?
Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to best, do as Finn suggested. This would definitely be in point presence. To be honest, I'm gonna. I think Sas will flip up Daunt, and basically trying to, as if coming in, as we're gonna just try to usher people out to a private meeting, usher out and just use that charisma presence combined to just out.
So you have this moment as you're first coming in, like no one's really paying you that much attention. they're getting on with their business. And then you call upon the power of the blood, and you get the first person, and they turn around like, what? And then they see you, and you say private business, and they just sort of wither, because you're a big guy. And you don't have a shadow like Theodore's exactly, but you do have quite a good shadow that can fall over people in a looming kind of muscle-bound manner. And that does the trick for most people.
Yeah.
A lot of the people in here are not big guys. You're used to hanging out with like actors and stuntmen and people who are in kind of the physical end of that industry. These are people who are in the academic end of the student industry, and often the ones who are a bit on the ratty side. And yeah, they do not. One or two of them try, but it's a trivial matter for you to terrify the shit out of them. And once you've thrown a few people out, people just start to go. The only person that looks like he's going to put up any kind of argument is the barman, because like he's working here. So when you come to the bar, what's your approach there?
It's something where I'm guessing that for in case expenditure, Velvet's been feeding us money. So,
What? Hang on, what?
I don't think Buckley is just giving you a ton of cash to walk around with.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, of course.
Velvet doesn't really carry much cash anyway.
No way,
If not, he has some cash.
It's all
some pocket
bottomless
cash
Amex
from.
for me.
It's okay. If not, he has some pocket cash from Theodore. Given that he's like a secret La Sombra now with his, shadow powers.
It does just look like a barman. You are still a terrifying supernatural being. So it's up to you whether you want to pursue the same. I'm just asking if you're changing tag. It's just that he's not going to just go like, bye. I will actually roll some dice for him.
Sort of thing where I'll basically put whatever money that's in wallet on the bar.
Okay. Are you still using Daunt?
Daunt is still up.
And do you say anything? Or do you just put the money on the bar?
Put my raise my eyebrow, sort of turn to what is so the doors are visible.
Okay. He takes the money and he leaves.
Poor guy. I closed the door.
The bar, so within about 5 minutes, this is now an empty bar. Doing anything else I should be aware of, Silas?
Just closing the door, then moving over to Finn and Sally.
So you close the door and you walk over to where Finn and Sally are. And you can hear Finn's obviously trying to talk to Sally, but you're not sure if Sally's paying him a lot of attention. He's saying, "You've been very quiet, Sally, lately. I've not really seen you around." And this seems to me a time where we all need to raise our voices, what with the situation. It's pretty important to me that we all raise our voices in the same direction. You need a city that's not divided. Sally looks at you as you're approaching Silas, and she glares at you and she says, "Why did he talk to you and not me? What did he tell you?" She glares at you. You say anything?
He told me that it was going to be dangerous here, and that he was leaving. Then he went.
She says,
Daunt is dropped as I've approached the table, by the way.
"Okay." She said, "That can't be all it is. That can't be." And Finn says, No. You're getting distracted, Sally. We're not here to talk about Sagansuk. We're here to talk about you." She turns and locks eyes with him and says, "Fuck off." And as she's saying that, you see this kind of intensity come over her face. But as she's doing it, Finn's hand shoots up supernaturally fast and clamps over her eyes.
And Silas is going to step behind Sally. Please don't.
And says, "I'll put up with your tricks for quite a few years, Sally, but we're not in a Veeam now. So you better start treating me with a bit more respect." You see his hand starting to squeeze on her skull. She grabs his hand and tries to peel it off, but it does not peel off. Says, "No. Silas and I would be worried that you're just going to stay here in your pub. Aren't we, Silas?
I had a lot of respect for Second Suk. I still have a lot of respect for Second Suk. I hope I could have the same amount of respect for you.
Aye, that's right. You're his child. We want to respect you the same way we respect her. Now, so Gansuk's gone. You'll need another night to put your support behind, right? I can't think of many better nights than Samata. Can you, Silas?
I mean, for certainly with her strength, she's quite incredible.
Aye, she's strong, which is just what this city needs, isn't it, Sally? And he will proceed to bully Sally, for want of a better word. Are you assisting him in this?
Tyus is basically going to play good cop to defend bad cop.
Okay. So Sally tries to kind of argue for a bit, but she doesn't seem to have the same amount of fight in her she normally does. You've also not really seen Finn quite in this light before. He doesn't seem quite as fluffy as you've normally seen him. And he says to Sally, whatever happens at the end of the month is going to affect this city for generations to come. If you are not there for us when the time comes, we'll remember. So I expect you to be there. Is that clear? She nods. That's good. I look forward to seeing you in court then. And then he turns and walks off.
Tinsley, if I hear anything about Second Suk, you'll be the first person I let know. Thank you for your time.
She does not meet your gaze. She just looks at the table. You will see the print of Finn's hand on her head, and kind of quite significant kind of bruising there. So it's worth saying this is not the last time over the month that Finn will take you on a little road trip to check in with various people of the city to see if they're, backing the brewer or not. It's worth mentioning none of these visits are to any knights or any elders. They tend to be to kind of neonates and ancilla. But just so you're aware.
Average bullying.
Average bullying level shake-up. It is like that. How Silas feels about this is obviously up to you. Whether he starts trying to dodge out of this or whether he supports Finn in doing it, it is up to you. Finn very much has the view that he's been given an order to do this by his elder, and he's going to damn well do it.
Silas will try to kind of as with that. Silas will try and be good cop, trying to stopping Finn from going too far, sort of thing.
Okay.
Curb Finn thing. Just whoa.
Okay. All right. Well, I would like you to make for me a resolve and persuasion check.
Oh boy.
Just to see how that goes with Finn. So, all kinds of things to check in with as we go. So at some point in the month, Theodore, you will break Braxton. You will learn his name is Braxton Collier.
Okay.
He has quite an impressive Roman nose, you will note. It's very good for, anything horrible you want to do to it.
Yes,
in the
easier
feature.
handle and things like that, yeah.
Whilst he is, quite resistant, it's not like he is superhumanly so. And
I feel that he's been trained for this kind of...
You think he's had a little bit of training, yes, but not enough. Not enough to deal with your abyssal, I said it there, see, not infernal, shadow, or indeed your skills over time. And you will eventually break poor Braxton. And Braxton, well, what kind of things are you trying to find out from Braxton?
Why was he there in the facility? Who is he working for? What was being conducted? What did they do to Melliore? Are they others? Who were the people with him? What does he know about his employer? Where does his family or any living relatives live? That is probably the first question. It's like, you know what? Let's start with the basics. I'm gonna look for your family, and if you make me look for them, I'm gonna be hungry by the time I look for them. And I think you kind of know what happens when I get hungry, and then from there on, everything I can. His shoe size, so I know how to better clamp his toes to the floor, with everything.
So things you will gather from him. One is that he is ex-military. Although I say ex-military, he still considers himself to be serving, but he's not part of a kind of public-facing unit anymore, or kind of easily trackable unit. He does give you names of the other people in his kind of group. You will find out about them, and you'll be able to ascertain they are the people that Melliore murdered. You will learn that he does have some family, but not many, and they are not in this country. At least that is what he tells you after repeated checks and questions. He seems to stick to that story. You're relatively convinced that's true, but he does have family. He does have some siblings who have children, but they are not in the UK. It will be clear that he considers himself to be working for the government, but for a kind of
like a paramilitary or something, shadow organization.
Yes, like quite indeed. He will be aware that there are other groups like him in operation, but he
What's the name of his group?
So his group are called Shadow 3.
Shadow 3.
Yeah.
Got it.
You're just like, how dare they call themselves Shadow anything?
That was my first thought. I'm a little cross about that.
But you will realize that there are other groups like his that exist, but they operate in kind of, as far as he's aware, they operate kind of through other people. So he doesn't communicate with them directly. However, you will be able to peel a name out of him, which is the name of another one of these groups, which is just a guy he knew from his old career that he happened to recognize. So although they're in another cell, he knows who this guy is from his old life. You're ultimately able to peel that name out of him. But generally speaking, he doesn't know who the others are, and they are directed by others. You will get from him like information on where certain drop boxes or drop locations are for their orders and things like that.
Okay.
So you'll get a reasonable amount out of him.
Yeah, reasonable amount of.
He will tell you that he will talk to you about blank bodies.
Okay.
And you'll realize that's what he thinks you are.
A blank body. Okay.
He will talk about the fact that they're aware of these people like you, that there are far more than they first thought. You're like some kind of pestilence, effectively, that exist in the world. They will know that you're very hard to kill. They will know that you can be kind of run through and staked. They will know that you can be burned. And they will know that you only tend to operate at night. They will also know that it is dangerous to speak to you without protections. And that to do so is dangerous. And they will also know that you are physically stronger and faster. The other thing that he will tell you that they know is that you don't all seem to be quite alike. Some of you seem stronger than others, and they don't yet fully understand why that is and how that works. But they know that they can't judge one of you by all of you.
So they're studying us sort of scientifically.
Yes. Yes.
This is sort of
and they've been collecting data on you. Yeah.
Okay.
And the Melliore is not the first of your kind that they have captured in the past. The other groups have caught blank bodies before and experimented on them.
I proceed to just just pass along that information.
Who are you passing it to?
First, Melliore and Isabel, let them tell me what is it that we're going to do with it?
They tell
No.
you that you're going to use it as leverage, so that you can choose who you tell, so they will be grateful for knowing,
Okay.
and then disseminate the information after that. So there is a point at which someone's like, "Oh, you're my friend," and then
Yeah.
Melliore seems hell-bent on making as many friends as possible, such to try and pull something amazing and political off in the near future.
I let her know that I secured the mayor boom from Enolf.
Ah.
I'm not quite sure how to proceed with that, but I do let her know.
Okay.
So
Cool.
if she,
Yeah, she will mull on that, on that thought. Right, now then, let me jump into a couple more scenes. So, Velvet, a few weeks into the month. I should say, by the way, Silas, you're probably fully healed by now. I'm assuming, where is Velvet staying? Is he staying in his flat, or is he staying in the Haven?
So his intention is that, because I don't think his resources are going to stretch to an additional place to put these people. Yeah, that actually, since he and Adam don't need somewhere separate now, they could live at the Haven together.
Yeah,
that would be his plan, and then these people can stay in the flat. And
awesome.
but yeah, so that will be his resolution. So that means, assuming that Adam is amenable to that,
Yeah,
they'll
he's
live
amenable.
at the Haven. Yeah.
Okay, so one evening, we'll assume that Silas and Theodore are not in at this point. Vance will come to find you. I imagine you're hanging out with Adam in a sort of lazy idyll. Oh, one last thing, by the way, folks. I assume you tell Sir Holder that Joanne has disappeared?
Yes.
Sir Holder is very unhappy about this. She doesn't hold you responsible.
Yeah. We tell her that night that we have that conversation that with me.
Yeah.
That very same night that we had to report, and we try to soften the blow by saying she's not the first toreador that's leaving the town, but I chip in for a suggestion to get soap as a potential substitute to be considered in the future.
Yeah, she will consider that.
Cool.
She will be. Your read on it, Velvet, because you're probably the best set to realise this, is Sir Holder takes it as a personal insult that Joanne left the city without coming to her first.
Well, I agree with Sir Holder. I've taken it the same way. So,
and
for once, we're in agreement.
You're in no doubt that she will take satisfaction for that insult should she see Joanne again. That is her take on it. Because as far as she's concerned, you work for her. You've been staying in what is essentially her domain. And if she's just going to leave without, you don't swear an oath and then just walk out. That is her take on it.
Okay. So
that happens. Anyway, you're in the Haven. We're about halfway into the month.
I imagine
probably a lovely time with Adam.
Highlights or something, because that's what he likes.
Yeah, doing something quite domestic with Adam. And Vance will come and say, hello, sir. I just thought you should know you've got a visitor.
What? Who? There was nobody supposed to be coming here.
He says, I don't believe he was scheduled visitor. I believe his family.
I look confused by this. And I will. I'll get up, go to meet whoever the visitor is.
Okay, so when you're taken, you will find that Seth is in the entrance hall.
Okay. I'll say, thanks, Vince. I'll take it from here. I'll say,
yes, sir. And then he retreats. Hey, Velvet.
Hey, how you been?
Not bad. He he lifts one of his legs and rotates his foot. He says, "What do you think?"
I'll say, it looks not sure what I'm supposed to be looking at. So I'll say, I mean, yeah, you look good. What?
That's all I need to hear. Yeah, it's been a bad few weeks. And I owe Rupert more than I'd like. But here we are. I'm back.
So?
Look, I was wondering, have you seen Wallace anywhere? Because I can't find him.
No, I haven't heard from him, but that's not unusual. I mean,
Well,
last time I saw him was the night that you went with Theo out to Imago.
that was the last time I saw him as well. And, but, I mean, I don't think anyone's seen him, Velvet. I thought maybe you had because, you're his child, and like sometimes when they're going to do something weird, sires tell their children stuff. Well, you think he'd tell his brother. I mean, he'd tell his brother if he was going to go do something stupid.
Well, you think he's done something
And I'd do it with him.
Why?
I don't know.
What makes you think he's going to... Why would he... I mean, he's a cautious guy, right? He doesn't do that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, these ain't exactly cautious nights, Velvet. They're dangerous nights.
Well,
so you haven't seen him and you don't know what happened to him.
Well, he told me that he had business to attend to that night. That's why he wasn't coming with us. But I don't know what it was. And otherwise than that, I haven't seen him. But like I said, that's not unusual. Did you know if Sir Rafe knows where he is? Maybe he would have told him.
Well, I mean, I would. I just, I try to make it my business not to talk to Sir Rafe unless I really have to.
Well, I don't particularly want to talk to him either. I mean...
Well, see, that's why we get on so well.
Right.
Velvet, can you make a manipulation and subterfuge roll, please? Yes, you can use your cover-up if you wish in this.
Thanks.
I feel it kind of vaguely applies. Only vaguely.
Yay for...
If it's any consolation, Seth's pool is not massive for this.
Yay for a ridiculous pool, though, from what I understand.
Well, yes, I do have a pretty good pool. We'll see. I have 4 successes.
Because you are obviously just going through your...
Yes, exactly, yeah.
How many, sorry?
It's 4 successes. I think it's a critical win.
4 successes, critical win. Okay. He says, well, between you and me, Velvet, he was keeping an eye on Sir Enoff.
What?
And, well, between you and me, Sir Enoff's, he's not exactly all here anymore, so I'm kind of worried about him. Not Sir Enoff, I mean Wallace.
Right. Well, you think he might have gone up?
I think something bad might have happened to him.
Well, I mean, if you're right, and
you get the sense that. Sorry to interrupt you, Velvet. While Seth's talking, you know how Velvet is a master poker player.
Yes.
Well, Seth isn't, and you get the feeling that Seth knows something. You just get that vibe that there's something he's not telling you.
Okay. I'll say, you think something happened to him while he was looking out for Sir Enoff?
Yeah, I think maybe something happened to him while he was looking out for Sir Enoff.
Well, it seems to me like you're not telling me something.
Well, there's lots of things I don't tell you, Velvet, because I'm not allowed.
Well, you know what? I can't help you then. You can't ask me to develop a strategy for you.
You already told me you can't help me. You don't know anything. Why would I tell you anything if you don't know anything? I mean, I would tell you if I could.
I guess.
There's some things you shouldn't say unless,
Well, I guess we don't have anything left to discuss then. If I don't know nothing and you're not going to tell me nothing.
Don't do this to me, Velvet. What? Are you saying you do know what? I'm confused now.
What I'm telling you is that it's clear to me that you have more information about this than you're telling me. And that if I was in possession of that information, I might be able to help you. But as I'm not, I guess we don't.
I'm saying that maybe Sir Enoff is not very safe right now, and that maybe if Wallace had to do something to, keep him contained, then maybe something bad might have happened to Wallace. That's what I'm saying.
Well, say you're right. What the hell will we do?
You still think he's not telling you something, by
Okay.
the way.
I'll say.
This was
I'll
not it.
say. Well, say you're right. What the hell will we do about it? Serenolf, right? I mean, I'm not going up there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna rip.
Yeah.
If he's, you know what your brother is like, right? If he has, I don't know, if something bad has happened to him while he's with Serenolf, what do you think Serenolf is gonna do to me, other than grind me into the floor? I'm not down for that.
I wouldn't go anywhere near Serenolf unless you want to have a real wild night.
Right, and I do not want that in life, right?
I've
So,
only just got my legs back, Velvet. I don't want to go anywhere
what
near
do you mean
that
you
guy.
got your legs back? What happened to your legs?
They had an accident with a katana.
That's one way of putting it.
It's a nice way to put it. If you think
You know what,
about it.
I'm glad I didn't go on that trip. Jesus Christ. Well, what's your suggestion then?
I don't have one. I was hoping you'd tell me something.
No,
but
I
I
don't
guess
have
if you don't know anything, I don't know anything, I guess I'll go home. Maybe ask around.
Well,
I'm
I
going to
guess-
have to go to Rafe. God damn it.
Surely, if you're right about this, Rafe is gonna have something. He must know what Wallace was.
Yeah, I reckon he'll know something. Yeah, I reckon he'll know something, all right.
What is up with you? You're not making any sense, and you're still not telling me everything. Don't think I can't see that. You care a good goddamn about your brother, you should tell me right now.
Well, I think, well, maybe there's some things you don't want to know. Like, if you know about them, that puts you in a dangerous position. So it's up to you if you want to take...
I live every day of my fucking life in a dangerous position.
Yeah, but I mean, look at this place. It's not exactly dangerous here, is it?
It's dangerous.
Okay, fine. I'll tell you.
All right.
I'll tell you. You don't tell anyone else, you hear?
All right. All right.
Look, it's been aware some people at Enolf's been he's been on the wrong train for a while now. And the thing about those kind of trains is when they get real fast, then they come off the rails and then they blow up a lot of stuff. You don't want that.
That makes
So there was some talk and certain, places amongst certain people, and Wallace was one of them. They were going to take that train off the rails a little early so it doesn't crash.
right.
And I'm wondering if maybe the train didn't want to come off those rails,
And it didn't
and
work.
maybe it just ran over the people on the tracks. That's what I'm wondering.
I see your point.
And well, I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest with you, Velvet, because I know about that plan to take that train off those rails, and it might not look too good for me if said plan, was to come to the open. Not that I did anything, but then I didn't exactly not do anything either, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, presumably this was done under the instruction of Rafe?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I see what you mean. That is something of a pickle.
So what I'm now wondering is, instead of looking for Wallace, maybe I should be looking to pack my bags.
That would seem to me that it might be a sensible solution. But now you're saying it, I'm wondering whether I should do the same. I mean...
It's a little after the point now for you, Velvet. I mean, I knew about it before it happened. Whatever happened, I don't know what happened. That's what worries me. It might be fine. I don't know. Can you find out how angry people are, and then I'll pack and be nearby, and then if things are bad, you give me a call. I'll drive hell out of here.
Wait, you want me to find out how angry Serenolf is, or how?
I don't know. You're a smooth guy. You find someone to ask for you. I don't know. You figure it out. I'm gonna go pack.
All right.
Don't leave me hanging.
I won't leave you
I
hanging.
only just got these legs back.
Right, you don't want to lose me again. All right, well, you know what?
Damn right I don't.
I got your back. I will. I'll make some calls, and I'll give you a call and let you know. Right.
He'll pat you on the arm. You're a good guy, Velvet. And then he goes.
I'll wait like a suitable amount of time before I phone him up and lie to him about how angry everyone is. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then hopefully he leaves. Yeah.
He thanks you for the warning and tells you that he's gonna get out of town until things cool off. You know, in like 10 years or so.
Okay. This is not going to help me reject my blood bond with Adam. I'm really pleased by this. So, but yes, okay.
Excellent. So we are a little tight on time, but there are not one but two scenes I want to try and do. So we'll see, how that goes. So, scene 1. Silas, in the month, you're arranging to meet with Jenny.
Yep.
So, where are you meeting her?
Probably in one of the in a little village between Oxford and London.
What, like at a pub or at in a hotel, or what are we talking?
Sorry, probably
Services?
Probably some sort of outside pub. Probably in a garden. Pub garden. Probably
Sure.
Ideally during the week if you can. So there's less people out there.
So she will. You can meet. It's a relatively quiet evening. You're in a pub.
Yeah.
She'll have a soft drink, and will be kind of there to meet you. You are struck by, how she is obviously a TV person. You spent a lot of your time recently dealing with normal people, and now you're dealing with a TV person, and she looks, even casually, quite presentable.
Yep.
She is so relieved to see you. I assume you're blushing, doing a blush of health?
Yep.
But we're not going to worry too much about the role for this because it's over time passes. Yep. So she will embrace you when she sees you and look absolutely thrilled that you are there. And she says, Silas, I'm so glad you're alive. Oh, God, I've been thinking about this. I've been so worried. Are you okay?
I'm fine. Are you?
Yeah, of course. Of course, I'm fine. I've been thinking about this. She'll sit down with you.
Yep. I decided we'd get first guide her into if there's a beer garden.
Yeah, you can go somewhere quiet where it's just the two of you. That's not a problem. She'll say, you need to tell me everything. I still don't really understand what's going on with you.
Why is it you want to know fully everything? Because there are things I probably told you too much already. For your safety.
What you've told me doesn't make any sense. But if you're not safe, Silas, if you're not safe, then we need to get it so that you're safe.
I'm as safe as I can be.
You need to go to the authorities, Silas.
They can't help.
Of course they can help. That's their job. You need to talk to them. I can't just sit there and know you're in danger. We need to do something about this. I know it feels like no one can help you, but if you talk to me and if you talk to them, it will be better.
This, if authorities look into it, they will hunt me. I've seen it before. I've seen it.
But then we need to. You can't be the first person that's been in danger like this. She is entering into social combat with you. She's trying to persuade you to go to the authorities. You can make. Sorry, say again, Phil?
So I was going to kind of redirecting the conversation away from.
Okay, if you're trying to redirect it subtly, you can do that with etiquette.
Yeah, I can use some etiquette.
Okay. Also manipulation and etiquette. Are you using... Well, actually, you can't... Yeah. I would allow you to use presence if you want to. Up to you.
Yeah, because that's a terrible roll without it. That's an atrocious roll without it. So I will use...
So you can spend willpower and things as you like.
Manipulation. Plus the blood as well. That gives it all that much. So that's then 3 successes.
So 3 successes. So she is obviously pleading with you, and what you're trying to do is get her to talk about something else or focus things in a different way.
Yep.
And you don't like fully go in, but you flex your supernatural presence.
Yep.
But it's hard. You've known Jenny all your life, and she's your friend. She's trying to help you. She's also your touchstone. So you take 2 points of superficial willpower damage. Are you staying in the argument? She's really quite persuasive. It's almost like she's in a career that gives her those skills.
Cyrus is going to this point respond with, if there was another way you could help, would you be interested?
Yes, of course I would. But it sounds like this is too big for just the 2 of us. We need to go to the authorities.
There are others.
But you know I'll help you anything.
It would mean, if you wanted to, you would have to leave everything that you know behind. The only thing that you would know would be me. Just like as I've left my career.
You need to tell me what you need to tell me what this is before you ask me to make a decision like that.
It's another world.
I'll listen, and
it's another world completely different that runs off of centuries of time, where someone like can be incredibly persuasive. It's not something I would ever want for you, but it's not something that I would stop you for if you wanted. You're my oldest friend.
She smiles when you say that. She will sit and she will listen to you. What, roughly speaking, are you telling Jenny? I mean, are you just like laying it out for her, or are you saying, how vague are we being here? What are we saying? Because she wants to know. She asks, and she's saying, if you're saying she's got to like give up everything, she wants to understand what this is. So my question to you is, are you actually telling her what this is, or are you going to give her a different version of what this is?
He's going to have a version in his head, a sort of glossed over version, basically keeping out any as many details as would cause her to run in terror.
So are you leaving out supernatural elements?
It's going to be like the flat Earth theory or Scientology.
So it's going to be kind of like
come over, but not a lot of detail.
So it's going to be like conspiracy theories.
Exactly, that's the word. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is something he's definitely rehearsed in his head while the write-in.
Sure. Okay. I will allow you to make a charisma and manipulation, I think, to be fair, and I'll let you do performance because I think you would have rehearsed this speech.
Absolutely.
Are you using presence?
Yeah, he'll
okay.
do that.
And just as you're doing that role, just so we're all clear, you're trying to basically say, if you want to help me, what you could do is you could come and do this, but it means you're going to have to give up everything. And in Silas's mind, what would that mean if she says yes? What would he actually do? Just so I know.
He would. He'll basically present her with a little test, and if she goes for it, and then he'll take her with him.
In what sense? Are we talking? You'll tell her the secrets. You'll ghoul her. You'll turn her into a vampire. What's Silas? Just so I've got a vague idea.
His intention would be to then offer offer a blade and basically persuade her to drink willingly.
Okay, awesome.
So he's not. He wouldn't be forcing. She'd be willing.
Sure. So what's the result of your roll?
Rolling now. That I'm gonna willpower that
Okay.
because, yeah. That's gonna be 4 successes total.
4 successes in total. So you'll take 1 point of willpower damage. It's a tie. You don't manage to fully persuade her to do this. Neither does she, however, force you to go to the authorities. But you do talk long into the night, and she does. Basically, she'll say, unless Silas is going to push the issue, she will say that she needs to think about this because it's such a big thing. She won't tell anyone about what you said, and that she'd like to meet with you again to make up her decision. But there's a lot of what you said she needs to get her head around. She's not sure quite if it all hangs together. She needs to think about it. It's such a big thing you sprung on her. She's not quite ready.
As will nod and say it was sprung on me very fast as well. So you've come what time that I have. Take all the time you need. I'll see you soon.
Okay. I'm also going to give you 1 stain for distressing your touchstone.
Yep.
Cool. So I'm aware we're at time, but I want to do one last thing before we finish this session. So I'm going to spin forward to the end of the month and to a court that is unlike other courts that you have attended. This court is not held in the centre of town. It is held in the south. It is in fact held at Sir Holder's domain, in the place where she receives visitors. The reason some of you will become aware for this is that, of course, Helena is not a citizen of Oxfordshire. And it has been pushed repeatedly that she should be challenged and should be treated like a citizen of Oxfordshire. And of course, if you want to join the city, you have to gain a token from the gatekeeper. And she's coming from the south, and therefore she's going to have to go to the southern gatekeeper. And so the court is held there instead of in its usual location. And indeed feels a bit odd because it's sort of almost like Sir Holder is holding court, insofar as it is within her domain, and she is kind of a senior kind of person within her domain. However, Sir Holder is not entirely holding court either, because it's still a court for the city. And you still have the herald there. You still have the knights. And there is very much a feeling of the knights cooking something up. There's been lots of, obviously, you going around persuading people that something really bad has to happen. And I imagine you've been trying to influence what that might be.
I'm also starting to use the information as Melliore asked, as in gaining favors for the information of, hey, there is this thing that is going on, so maybe we can throw that in Helena's face sometime. But gaining,
so all of that is bubbling in the background. When Helena arrives, she does not arrive alone. You will recognize Liam, who is the master of ceremonies at the games, is with her. You will recognize Brona and Kate from the games, who were participants. You will also recognize Amanda, who was the Toreador, who was one of the only survivor from your first foray into Reading. And there will also be another couple of kindred you don't recognize and haven't seen before. So it's a not insignificant group that arrive with her. And she will arrive very much in a kind of proud. You know, she doesn't come humbly. She comes like, I am now coming into this space. And she's like on the verge of making her speech, or whatever that's going to be, when the herald says, she has come back as predicted. Of course, we here in the city are all aware of the events that took place recently. The sad passing of the great Prince Drogo the Barentin, and the consequences and impact of that duel being lost. However, as anyone knows who has studied Oxfordshire as long as you have, he looks at Helena. We are a domain of tradition, and we would not wish to disrespect you by not treating you as we would any who came to this city. It is customary for any who wish to come here to swear an oath to the prince, and of course also to the city. And she will be like, I do not have a problem with this. He says, however, we do not simply allow any to come and swear an oath as they wish. Such oaths must carry weight. And so those who wish to swear must earn a coin from the gatekeeper, just as you must do if you wish to become a citizen of this city and ultimately rule it. Her eyes narrow at this. As the herald is speaking, and as he's starting to come to that point, you will see, however, the knights kind of gathering up into a group. There are many knights, of course, not here. Sagansuk is not here. You will notice that Sir Kerstag is here, and she has returned. She is very bundled up and mostly covered, but it is her. You might say charitably that's because she wanted to gear up for battle. You might not, depends how you feel. It's fair to say she's kind of towards the back of this gathering. She's not being very loud or saying much.
Sir Ranulph here.
Sir Ranulph is not here.
Good news.
So it's not true, actually. Sir Ranulph is here. Sir Ranulph is here. And Sir Ranulph looks like he's ready to kick off any second. He's looking at Helena like all she has to do is say the wrong word and he will be all over this shit. He's armed, he's there, he's ready, he's up for this.
Oh, quick question. I would assume the group of us are here for, like, we are effectively security tonight.
Yes, you
because
are.
We're the beam in the south. So we are armed. Silas,
yes.
Melvin, and myself.
Fuck that. If Mr. Ranulph kicks off, I'm leaving. Yeah,
but I'll hand you a gun, so you have at least the gun.
Yeah, that's going to do nothing against him. Yeah.
But you're going to look cool as fuck. You know, you're going to carry your gun with you. You're going to look like, important. So if it kicks off, you run away.
There is obviously this group of kindred behind, like backing Helena as well. And these kind of groups. But obviously there are, because of the various things you've been doing and other people have been doing, there are also a lot of Oxfordshire kindred that seem, at least on the surface, united. And there are more of you, obviously, than there are them, significantly more. And she kind of sizes it all up and says, what then would you have me do to prove myself? And Hale says, well, for that, I will defer to one of our founding knights of Oxfordshire. And Sir William comes forward and says, was, as you know, my sire and a small group of knights at first gathered to form this domain. And before we came, Oxfordshire was not a place that was safe for our kind to walk. There were other beasts that held these woods. And we cast them back by force of arms. Indeed, in his reign, his long, long reign, my sire threw back many enemies of Oxfordshire. So it seems fitting, if you are to claim to be worthy of being prince, then your test for entry into the city should be of a similar nature, one which involves throwing back an enemy of the city. And if we interpret the duel such that you have proved yourself a greater prince, then that means you must perform a greater feat, a feat that even he could not achieve in his long reign. She's looking a little like bracing herself for the storm. And he says, when the city of Oxfordshire was first formed, there was a kindred amongst us who we thought was a friend and fooled us with his false oath. He was made scourge of the city, yet he betrayed it, and indeed the citizens of Oxfordshire. He once duelled Sir James Douglas and defeated him, and murdered no small number of kindred, breaking the sacred rules of the Camarilla and the oath itself in both letter and spirit. He is referred to as the bowman.
Yes. Fucking hell.
If you wish to be a citizen and earn your coin and swear your oath and have us swear to you, then you will bring us his head. There is a long pause, and she takes it in, the situation, and weighs it up. And then eventually she says, are there any other conditions? Says, you will not be able to take anyone else with you, save for those we provide. Says, and they will not be there to fight on your behalf. They will be there to observe your conduct, such that you prove yourself fitting, penitent, petitioner. So there is another long pause, and Helena... I mean, Silas, you've been around Brewyer to know long enough when someone is saying, don't frenzy, don't frenzy. And that is where she is. Because it's kind of like everyone's being a bit shitty and she's being humiliated and she can feel it. But she does not lose her self to the beast.
Damn.
She says, so be it. I accept. William says, excellent. He says, then... Gareth Thomas, our boonkeeper, who, as you will no doubt have learned, is neutral in all affairs, will accompany you to see how you do on this venture and to tell us how you have conducted yourself. Of course, these are dangerous nights and we would not wish anything bad to befall our boonkeeper. So the Southern Veeam Coterie will accompany him to make sure that he is safe on this.
And I do a small bow in her direction.
Silas will respond as
With
well.
a smirk.
Just say,
Okay.
I don't bow. I just look really annoyed.
Excellent.
That is amazing. Like a courteous bow, a very menacing grin, and an annoyed look. Like, oh my god. It's like, who are these three?
She takes all of this in and gives very little away, but it's fair to say there is little love on her face for any of you. And Sir William will say, we wish you luck and a speedy return. And on that note, we will draw session 8 to a close. I apologise for those watching along for us having a little bit of a late finish, but I kind of wanted to get to that point before we were done.
Everybody is happy that Hugh the Bowman is back.
Just as I was thinking, who the fuck is the bowman? I need information about it.
So if you do not know who the Bowman is, I recommend you to watch the 1400, 1600 Memorial.
Oh, yeah. The first Memorial session.
First Memorial.
That is, he's also referred to in the third one as well. Yeah, for anyone.
Oh, yes. The Bowman.
So there are a few things to resolve before we wrap up the session completely. One is Silas needs to make a remorse check. You picked up 1 stain. I'm afraid you can't apply any convictions. So just a regular remorse roll would be great. Those of you may be wondering, you may have been sitting at home thinking, but what is actually the best discipline? I've never been quite certain. There are so many to choose from. I can now solve that mystery for you. The answer is Dominate.
It's
And our
Oblivion.
winner is Sparrow or Let. So congratulations on your wisdom and for also winning these stickers. If you get in touch with us, we will post them to you as soon as we can.
Dominate maintains its position
So
as the best thing ever.
it was totally worth you staying up for this, girl.
So I just want to say this is a Mitch Appreciation Week. So thank you very much.
Or otherwise known as the algorithm.
Wow, that's a controversial statement.
He is the algorithm.
Created
Thanks,
by Dilly in a
Antonio.
secret lab. I would also say thank you, of course, as always, to my players for being fabulous.
Thanks to our storyteller.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you. And of course, to all of you for watching along. Do join us next week for session 9, which will be Let's Go Hunt the Bowman. How fun will that be? Silas, how did you do on your remorse check?
I had 2 successes, so...
So you feel bad about manipulating your friend in the way that you did and not telling her the truth, because you're always so honest with each other. That burns at Silas, and he feels really, really shitty about it, but he does not lose humanity. So, as we say, thanks very much. See you next week. If you want to audition tonight, let him know or never, or Carlos will shut the door. And take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh,
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.